Welcome everyone to podcast episode number 17. This is the 2025 year in review. So today we're going to go through all the different updates, the new stuff, and also we're going to give our reflections back on the older updates from the year. For anyone who hasn't seen this podcast before, you can find all the episodes, current and previous on YouTube and Spotify. So let's start by going around and giving all our guests here a quick intro. If they would just, Drew's Fire, you want to start? Just tell everyone who you are for anyone who may not know.
I'm Druid's Fire, because Blue Fire is best fire. I I stream on both game channels. Standing Stones of the Game, Locho. Been there longer than here. However, I will be on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever time, on DDO stream, and I stream on twitch.tv/DruidsFire. I'm a former game press person, and that's how I actually met Cordovan for the first time. Back in the Turbine days, it's like, oh, this guy. All right, okay. This game is fun, and that was when Temple of Elemental Evil came out. It was my first gig to do some game press in reference to this game. It was fun.
Okay, Nomad.
Aloha, everyone. Nomad Dog. I am a DDO content creator, I guess. I stream a few times a week. Twitch.tv/Nomad Dog, usually Wednesdays and Friday nights. For those who are in the United States, it's usually late night for everyone else because I'm out here in Hawaii. And then for Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, I stream on DDO Stream. Just a couple things ahead of Druid's Fire. And I enjoy doing this, and I appreciate the invite again, Axel.
Yeah, of course. Niven, you want to go next?
Hello, my name is Roger Richard Dixon, and I'm the 14th President of the United States of America. No, my name is Nimvin Singer. I'm a content creator. I play Dungeons & Dragons, Dungeons & Dragons Online. I love Dungeons & Dragons, and that's how I found this game. My dad didn't know what to do with me in 1995, so he whipped out an AD&D game book, 3 books, and he's like, hey, you want to bond through this and only this? And I'm like, yeah, and now I'm here.
All right, Wysky.
Hey, Wysky at twitch.tv/YSUKAI, and I stream DDO from mostly Wednesday to Sunday. Mostly just leveling quickly and do cool stuff.
All right, and as always, I'll put below in the description on the YouTube video side and the Spotify side, I'll put links to all the guest stuff, Twitches and YouTubes and all that. Okay, well, let's start with the first update, which was update 72, which was released February 26th, and it was called Balance the Scales. So the first thing we got was the Dragon Disciple Monk archetype. So who played Dragon Disciple this year?
Me.
Raise of hands, yes, 2. I did not. So I played one on Lamania when it first was released, and I was like, this is kind of cool, but when I play Monk, I want to punch things in the face with Shintao. So I'm like, I just want to play a melee Monk. So it's not really for me. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? It's kind of a caster melee hybrid Monk.
No, to me, it's not a hybrid. It's a melee Monk with some extra flair. It never really excelled in the caster level. The caster was always kind of like, not even the cherry on top. It was like an accenting sprinkle on top. It's kind of like an identity niche ability. The casting was very not strong compared to how hard I was able to punch something in the face, and I loved it for that, and it was fun. I loved it.
Cool. Yeah, I am. Like I said, I just played it on Lamania, so I don't have a great understanding of how to play it, but that was the impression I got. Is what they're going for was like a caster hybrid. Maybe the castery stuff is not as strong as it should be. What do you think, Waisakai?
I played it because, it's 3 past life, so
yeah, I think I remember.
Gotta do that.
I think I was watching your stream. Yeah, and you were grinding through it fast.
For me, it's the same issue with Dark Apostate. They're trying to do a hybrid, but it's missing a lot of things. DC is super low. when you're trying to do caster. So if you go a high level in end game, then your spell just doesn't hit. So it's good for leveling. A very, very strong leveling class, but except that you don't see too much of them at the end game.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Nimvin and Waisakai about the Dragon Disciple. How is it compared to, say, a Sacred Fist? Because that's probably the closest analog we have to Dragon Disciple.
Well, Sacred Fist is like you ask me for a Coke, and I hand you carbonated water and a nut, and I tell you like it's the same thing. It's just not in the same cup. See, Sacred Fist is monk-like. I actually played it as a Dragonborn because I didn't have a bund step. I didn't have things that weren't like staple more. It felt like a monk, but then it was missing some monk things. So I made a race class combo so it was a monk, you know? Yeah. But Dragon Disciple is a monk. It has all the monk stuff. Matter of fact, arguably, its version of a bund step is even better because I think you get a little boost from it.
It's actually a 15 cooldown. You miss abundance step, and they replace it for a 15-second cooldown. So it's actually slower.
Yeah, that's the difference of playstyle. If someone spams it and they're zerging a lot, a monk is way faster. But for me, it was the 15 seconds was cool, you know. Because like half the time I would fight and then I have to listen to my friend Voodoo Spice do like a 30-minute explanation on how he first saw this room 20 years ago. And then the cooldown is done and then I can abund step more.
Yeah, didn't they lose Quivering Palm as well?
Playstyle.
Don't they lose Quivering Palm as well compared to regular monk?
I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love Quivering
They're
Palm.
strong at leveling. But...
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
I'm 100% in agreement with Yusuke.
Well, okay. Well, any other thoughts on that? I mean, we also had the rework of Monk, and I have a little more to say on this because they did the Monk Pass and they did they made them stronger and tried to simplify them a little bit. Like I watched Nomad, I watched your video the other day, by the way, that you made, and yeah, I mean they definitely tried to kind of simplify the playstyle a little bit, but also make them stronger and more accessible. So I really liked Monk when I played. I played one Life of Monk and Shintao hand wraps, and I really liked it. Like I think it's really, really strong now after the pass, and probably one of the most underrated classes I would say in the game because I just don't see very many monks. Yet they are super, super strong. Capable of CCing almost anything and great DPS. Great heal. They added a heal now with the pass. That's like better than. I think they're better heroic, maybe better healers than clerics, just because of that AoE heal that has no range limitations. So yeah, they're awesome.
Now one of the things. Yeah, go ahead.
Monks and paladins right now have the highest melee power in the game, right? Strength-based monks and paladin, but the thing about the monk update. And I'm sorry if I'm taking this in another, because I know Yusuke has one in the chamber, right? Is that I felt like it was one of the coolest updates that could also make people mad because there was a lot of people who didn't like Monk and to an extent, not even alchemists because of the combo thing. They're like, it's too much for me. I can't handle being a husband, an employee, and keeping up a fire stance combo.
Well, and there's still,
and then they go,
and that's the thing with Monk. They're always
finishers and all that, but you don't have to hit combos anymore, right?
Right. Yeah, they took out the combos.
Charge.
Yeah, and that's the thing with
sad.
Monk, though. Yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, it was
a lot of people that would be sad.
It's still, I would say, it's still one of the harder classes to play, even though it's definitely obviously easier than it was to play when after taking out the combos. But it's still like a lot of buttons because to really maximize a Monk, you have to really utilize all the different options they have, and it's a lot of buttons to manage for sure. But if you can manage
it up to a lot of players that hated that before. And that's what I liked about it. I had a guildie that just refused to play Monk, and now he plays Monk. And that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
But
that's
I liked it. I liked the final. I played a lot of monks, so I was very used to it. But for me, I feel like the change made it so that the key system is almost useless at some time. You get so much key that you can't even use it.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Well, Nomad and Druid's Fire, have you all had a chance to play Monk or Dragon Disciple this year?
Yeah, so Monk, yes. My big thing was when it came to the combo system, I primarily would just use triple light. That was like the only combo I ever used. Um, Occasionally back in the day when cap was 20, things like Grasp the Earth Dragon was great when you were doing TOD. Having the ability to reduce spell point costs for the group prior to the start of the raid was great. Um, but as time went by, the combo system would break so easily. Like you sneeze wrong, and next thing you know, your finisher's gone, right? And that was a big issue that I had with it. And so when they announced the change, I'm like, this is going to really piss some people off. And it did. There's a few people I know who were very, very unhappy with the change. Um, but after I've played with it some, I'm like, it's not bad. I mean, it did make it easier for people to access. Now it's in the trees as opposed to having to, button mash 3,000 different buttons to get something to work. So I think overall it's a good change. It makes it more accessible to more people. And, it's like I'm still on the fence about Alchemist. I'm going to be playing those for my next few lives just to kind of get back into it. But, I'm happy with the change. I thought it was a good change just overall for the health of the game.
But one thing they didn't address for me for Monk is it's still a clothed melee, so 50 MR is just way too low.
I don't know. It didn't bother me that much when I was
Dragon
running High
Disciple got
Skull.
some MR.
I don't know.
Dragon Disciple, I believe the enhancement tree, Dragon Disciple itself gave a little MRR cap increase, but not a lot.
No, maybe you get the 100, but even 100, if you go in end game, then it's still too low. You get just smacked by one thing, and it's over.
I don't even think it was 100. I think I got like 95 MRR in one of my Dragon Disciple lives.
It is 95, the highest I think you can get on Monk or Dragon Disciple.
Okay, well, Druid's Fire, did you play Monk at all or Dragon Disciple this year?
I did not. Mainly it's because I bounce off of combo classes very badly. Infamously, I'm leveling the Lotro combo class Warden simply by doing festivals where you pretty much right-click on something, it's level 10 and you're level 150. So I don't really like combo classes in general terms because they are too complex for me, and I like to figure something out, get my build ready, and then just go play. I don't want to have to go back and fix the build to, set up a new combo to do this other thing to go to this quest. I just want one build to go through the entire game, which is why I'm enjoying playing a a PDK Paladin and smashing through things on Reaper right now.
Yeah, that's understandable. It is like Monk is really like it's just a lot to manage when you play it, and it was nice when I finished my Monk life going back to Dragon Lord. I'm like, okay, now I can mash 3 buttons again and just kill everything. It was nice. But okay,
I kind of like that. Like, sorry.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just it can be exhausting, and it is rewarding because it has a higher skill ceiling. If you can master all those buttons, you can lock down, any monster you see or in insta kill, and it's crazy.
Well,
I do everything.
Well, that's the thing. Is that starting from like AD&D, I don't know how monks or mystics that they were referred to in the beginning, but also in other video games, there's always going to be a class that's like, how is that a professional tier class? Like, how is people in this game winning this esports tournaments with this class? I can't play it with it's a high skill, like it's one of those classes that requires you to kind of get familiar with the game mechanics and perfect your timing. And that's what Monk is. It's like Monk is, you can play paladin, strength based, half work paladin, and get melee power too, and just swing and destroy things. But if you want to like test out how good your arthritis is and how quick you are with the game,
Yeah.
monk is there.
Yep.
It's a skill level version of a high DP. You know what I mean? Like it's every game has it. It's like, hey, you want to play Lucario and Pokemon Unite? Well, you can, but you might get your butt handed to you because you're not seasoned, or you want to play a monk here? Well, it's going to be interesting unless you've been playing the game for a while and kind of are ready to throw in some button juggling in the middle of getting your face orked.
Yeah, it was the one class when I played it. I'm like, I really felt like I needed a mouse with multiple buttons on it, and like a foot pedal and all this other stuff because I didn't have enough. Yeah, but Druid's Fire showing
Shift, a computer shift,
some
gear,
other
first gear,
some more buttons on my keyboard. Did not have enough buttons. But all right, well, anything else you all want to say before we move on here? I think we covered it. So we hit the 19th anniversary during this update. Not much changed as far as I can recall. I mean, do y'all have anything that you remember?
Bonus XP and all that. That was great.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was the overhauled Party Crashers.
Yeah, the big change was the whole change to Party Crashers.
That's true. No more water
Coil
fountain
sitting outside of Cordo's door.
No fountain lag.
Yeah, fountain.
Yeah, it was actually that was the big change is they were able to sort that out so that space was much more friendly.
Yeah, for anyone listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, there was the big water fountain room in Party Crashers. It's a quest in House Falarian. When you go in that room, your frame rate would just drop, like very low.
Didn't they fix VOD on that about the same time where they figured out it was like a shadow thing?
Oh yeah, they was this the update where they took the pillar away? I could be wrong.
Yeah,
well,
I don't know, but I think it was a shadow thing.
Okay, well,
I don't know. Most of their fountains drop FPS. It would be weird if all the shadows suck.
Yeah. All right. Well, the other big thing we got in this update was the reincarnation XP cost changes. So this was huge. So basically, for your second, you get to stay on the first life XP curve of 1.9 million XP heroic before you for additional lives. I think you all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 4 lives now instead of 1. Is that correct? And then you stay on the second life. What was the second life XP curve of? What would it be? 1.9. I think it's 2.7. I think million XP.
2.85.
2.85. Okay, 2.85 million. So you stay on that. You get to stay on that for additional lives before you go to the full 3.8 million final XP curve. So I think it's four lives for the first one, and what is the next one? You get to stay on it for 3 additional. 3 additional.
It's to 7.
So yeah, that's 7 lives you get to go with a reduced XP requirement now instead of 2. So that's huge. Like especially for a free to play player, a free to play player who maybe reincarnated for the first time, to be able to open on hard now and stay at the 1.9, that's amazing.
I feel like there's like a subtle dialogue behind that change. It's almost like they're admitting that like, oh yeah, people just don't make one character in TR like 2 times and just like, this is my raid healer anymore. People are doing multiple past lives on multiple tunes, and that we're just gonna, because like, remember how it was before? It was just 1, 2, 3, and then that's it. And because back in the day when 20 was a cap, you could just have 10 characters and like 9 of them just have 3 past lives, right? And they're good enough for Shroud. But like, and even now you can still technically do that because if you know how to gear, but like I feel like that change was just a big acknowledgement that they realize how we're playing is not how the game was like how they intended it to be played, and they're like, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the game has definitely gotten more focused on lower numbers of characters over time. Like a lot more people today play just 1 or 2 characters versus in 2010, but it's not really, I don't know if that's a dev fault really. I think it's inevitable because as the game gets older, they have to continually add more stuff for people to do, and inevitably you're going to have people not have that time and then focus on just a small stable of characters. But you can still make first life characters work great. Like I have a lot of first life characters that do really well. I have a tank that can tank R10s first life. It's fine. Just got to gear. to the teeth.
Yeah, gear.
Reaper points help too.
Yeah, one thing I did notice, because I'm in that boat where this is bigger for me than for a lot of our veteran players who have like 5 billion past lives. And as expected, whenever there's something added to the game that is not for me, then I have to go out on the Discord or on the forums and complain about it. And so that happened. That was human nature. But for for a newer player, even reincarnation is generally out of grasp, because this is the pretty much the only game that has that. So people aren't used to it. So dropping this, making the low hanging fruit even lower, and making it so that people can get through those first few lives. Because once you get the first few past lives under your belt, you're cooking pretty good. Even you've tried a few different builds, decided, well, maybe this is going to be my paladin. This is always going to be a paladin. I don't care how many past lives. I'm just going to do paladin after paladin, because I don't care about completionists.
Yeah, even just getting
This-
just the first past life going from 28 to 34 point build is pretty huge for if you want to do, say, like 2 weapon fighting, something that needs 3 stats. Mm-hmm. It's a big
Yeah,
deal.
well, like I had to use a multiple past life character in order to manage a two-handed fighting Eladrin paladin, because Eladrin has the bonus points to Dex, and I love charisma paladins, because especially the PDK paladin, because with the +3 racial tome that we got with Mithranor, I believe it was. I just put those 3 points right there, and I got charisma to hit and damage. So I don't need Fey Dark Illusionist for it. I don't have to waste 7 points for that. And I can just go to town, and I kind of did. And she's using a Vanguard build right now, and just basically shield bashing the whole 9 yards with Colossus. It's fun.
I ended up revisiting some alts that I hadn't played for quite some time, just because they were somewhere at cap, and I'm like, what am I going to do with these things? It's like I don't really want to reincarnate, whatever. But it's like, oh, I got my first life discount. Great, I'll just keep riding that first life discount till that's done. Oh, I'm on second life discount. That's still great, And so I've reincarnated some of my alts a couple times, just because the XP curve's easier, and there's so much XP in the game now, and so much ways to get passive XP, that the leveling process for those characters just kind of zipped by.
Yeah, I have one of my rating alts who's just a DPS character. I'm definitely more incentivized to TR him now, because he's first life. He's always been first life, so I might turn him into a monk, because like we were talking, I really liked what they did with monk this year. So yeah, so anything else on the XP changes before we move on?
One thing, if you plan to do past life, don't do iconics on these first life, because you're losing XP. Because when it puts you to level to 15 on your first life, it gave you a certain amount of XP. I don't remember the number, but you get less XP if you do iconics.
Okay, I hadn't thought of that. Okay, well, let's move on to the next thing, which was the free raid Den of Vipers, released in Update 72 Patch 1. How much have you all run Den of Vipers, and what do you think of it? For anyone who doesn't know, this is a free raid it's in the Hall of Heroes.
I love it because of just that. It's a free-to-play raid. When's the last free-to-play raid? Legendary Tempest Spine, and then
Right.
before that, Tempest Spine. Like, free-to-play people needed this love so much, and it's not a bad raid, and it has decent items in it. So this is a total win for free-to-play players in my book. And it's at first when it came out, it was like there was some issues with the lags and all that. I don't think it was the raid's fault per se, but it's a good raid. If you're free to play and you want a raid experience, this is going to be a fun raid for you guys. It's not super hard either, which is also good.
Yeah, like it's the end fight's awesome. I think that's probably one of the coolest, if not the coolest raid boss in the game, the Hydra.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an awesome. I love managing the heads. It's a great infight. The only thing I would have liked to see in the raid, I think the Balar fight should just be required because it's a really cool fight, and the raid's so short as it is. I don't see why that shouldn't just be required, but maybe it's some popular opinion. It's more time for the same rewards, but I think it should be required. But the only other thing is, like, I like the infight. I just wish there was some more, maybe a couple other phases to the raid. That would have been neat. But other than that, I really like it. And I feel like I get the impression that that was supposed to be the raid boss in Myth Trenor, but they didn't get it working in time or something. I don't know if that's true, but it made up for Threats for me because I was kind of disappointed in Threats Old and New a little bit when that came out. So it was nice to get this, and yeah, it definitely made up for it being free.
I have never done the Baylor.
Never done the
Of all
Baylor
times
once.
I've-
Oh, it's such a
out of
cool
all
fight.
the times I've run
I've
Den
done
of
it
Vipers,
once.
It's such a cool fight because so you have to Tank has to position himself between the mobs and the Baylor so that the lightning strike hits the mobs to remove the shadow effect on them so you can kill them. It's just really cool because it involves a lot of tank positioning and party coordination, and it's an awesome fight. It's too bad that everyone just skips it because it's so cool.
I give no reward, I think, or it's just ingredients.
Cosmo said, I think they didn't require the Baylor fight so players could craft without having to complete the raid like an MD raid. Well, they could have put... Okay. Where's the crafting? I'm trying to think. Where's the crafting table? Do you guys know?
It's so when you say no to the Baylor, you enter and you pass the dude with the lanterns, and then you go into where you would go left to enter the raid. You just go right.
Oh, well, they could have just... I mean, they could have just put the crafting table somewhere else or in a public area, right?
I really think they should just do them outside the raid next to the raid giver. You're just like, hey, and when you get out, guys, I'll be here with a hammer. Like...
Yeah.
It's always the issue. I forgot my ingredient. I gotta redo the thing.
It's like having to do
that was
shroud
me
crafting.
last night in Hand in the Eyes. I forgot my steps seeing glasses, and I didn't get 13 either.
All right. Well, anything else on the raid before we move on? All right. Well, next we got the Echoes of the Black Rose Coffer, which was the first of 3 coffers during the year. This one it's kind of undead themed. It's got a lot of purple in it. What do you all think? Did you, because as creators, we probably all, I don't know if all of us, but SSG, shout out to SSG, is pretty generous, and they gifted a lot of creators the coffer. So I think all of us probably were gifted it. But what do you all think? What do you all think of it?
It's
Do you
great.
use-
It looks amazing. It's purple.
Yep. Same deal
so-
as all the other coffers where you get cosmetic. For anyone listening, you get cosmetics, pets, you get you get character bank storage and shared bank storage.
And a mount.
Yeah, and a mount. Correct.
Yeah, the mount was actually pretty good. For me personally, I liked the overall look because it looked like normal armor as opposed to gigantic shoulder pad sort of exaggerated armor. And it was also, it looked more metallic rather than something that what looked like it was painted, if that makes any sense. Because there was the reflectiveness on the actual armor that made it look shiny. And while purple is not the best color,
Yeah, blue.
it
Blue
was
is
still
what it needed to
pretty.
be.
Yeah. If they ever make a blue cosmetic out, I'll be Jerry.
Yeah, we had fire. We've it's time for a water themed one or an ice themed one.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely missed out on Halloween. They released a fire one, and I'm like, man, not a Halloween one.
Yeah.
It's Halloween.
Oh, there's so
It
many.
would be nice if they did like a coffer for, because one of the things I dislike about Night Rebels is the cosmetics that put fire out when Night Rebels is active and then they shut down and it's just a pumpkin. Like, give me
Yeah.
that so it's always on fire.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it because SSG. If you want to make some money, Melissa themed coffer, go for it.
No, no,
You'll make so much money.
no, boys, no.
Just saying.
Gentlemen in there. Oh, they'll make boku bucks on it, but y'all,
Yeah.
it's
So
2025.
I wanna because I love lore so much. The reason why this coffer is unique is because it's based off of a character in Dragonlance that actually has a tie over with Ravenloft. It's loosely based off of basically the first anti-paladin in D&D literature, right? He's an undead paladin, and then he meets Strahd, right, and kills his dragon, and Strahd's like, "You killed my dragon. I'm going to have to beat
Prepare
you
to
up."
die.
Yeah, and then he gets his own Drum of Dread and escapes it. One of the first people to do it. So, if you're a guy who's into Dragonlance, or a girl or a cat that's into Dragonlance, and you like this character, it's named after his castle, right? So, you probably had your ears perked. It's nice. I feel like it's really nice for what it is, an homage. And I really like it had a heavy mace with some really cool aura. The weapon aura on it's really cool.
Standing Stone has
And
actually been doing really well with the weapon auras that come with these coffers. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody's. We're going to talk about the new one later on, but the new one has a really cool design on it as well.
Yeah,
I
really.
like the fact that we got a single-handed weapon as the cosmetic weapon. I'll have more to discuss about that when we discuss the other coffers. Overall, I love the coffers because they are nice cosmetics. The art team goes ham every time they do a coffer. I have not seen a bad one yet. Of course, some are different for different people's tastes, but I have not yet seen a bad one. And I think that it's just gives people more options, because I don't want the fur lined outfit that you get, random generated stuff. So
The coffers
I
are
like
great. They just they're a great way for SSG to make some money for the game, and at the same time not sell. They're not bringing out +9 tomes or anything like that. So it's a great way for them to make some money. And for players, if you want to buy them to support the game, great. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You're not losing anything super important. I mean, especially now with them giving out so much shared space and stuff with the transfers. I mean, it's really just optional for you as a player. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, very good. I'm actually giving the code away next weekend.
Nice.
Oh yeah, you saved your code, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Well,
I saw
I
mine too.
bought it. I bought it before they gave it to us, so it took
I
a
always
bit
wait to
before
see what he says first and then go from there. Drac!
Oh, Drax here.
Yo.
Hey, Drac.
Hey,
Sorry.
Jack.
Hey. Sorry, my microphone was not working.
All good.
Oh,
You're good.
unfortunate.
Nice.
For anyone who doesn't know Drax from DDO Players News. He's joining us now. He was able to make it. Cool.
It's got an impressive vinyl collection.
Yes, he does. And
I do.
Vinyl podcast with Cordovan.
Not in front of it right now, but I do.
All right. Well, we just got through with update 72, so we're moving down on to update 73, which was released on April 2nd, 2025, and this was Tavern Tales, and it released the quest bundle called also Tavern Tales. So there's 3 new quests. There's one in Evening Star, one in the Marketplace, one in the Harbor. So Toil and Trouble, the covered culvert, and Sleeping with the Fishes. And this update did things a little differently. So the quests were released in 2-week intervals, and you can also buy them separately or buy all them together in one bundle. So what did you all think? I mean, first of all, what did you think about the release format? So they tried something different with selling these separately, doing the different scheduled releases in
It
different
confused
increments.
so many people, didn't it?
Yeah,
It's still
I s-
confusing people.
I see what
we were
they're
talking about it earlier today in Discord.
I see what they were trying to do. They're like, okay, we can piecemeal these out, and you don't have to spend quite as much money if you want to just spend a few hundred. I don't know how much each individual one was. I think it was 100 or 200 points or whatever it was. But you can buy them individually or buy them together. I see what they're trying to do to offer options, but I would just go back to the regular release
Yeah, I don't
method.
think
It's
it
just
landed.
confusing. It's more confusing than anything. These things are priced low enough as is. We don't need to have them separated, and it's just more confusing. Just release them all at once.
I
Yeah.
understand why they did them separately is because as they were scattered all over the game world, so it's not like they fit as a content pack, sort of like the one with the rats in Wayloon. That was like they're all right there. It's all the same level, etc., etc. These were scattered about, so I can see why they would price them separately and then offer a bundle. But I think they should have I think this did not land correctly. But I give them
Yeah.
props for trying something new.
See, my thing is what Druid's Fire. It's not what they did. It's how it was implemented and how it was told to us. Like, I feel like if it was more clear, like, everyone would be fine. Like, because honestly, this is fine. This is not unusual for other games to be like, hey, we have like scattered, like, these are not really related. They're technically could be a bundle, but these aren't really related. You can buy them individually for cheaper, and that makes sense. But then they were like, hey, these isn't a quest pack. This is a whole new different thing. And this is a whole guide about it. And we're going to have to find a link or watch this podcast, which most of you don't even know that exists. And then you'll know about it. And then and then that's felt like that's it. And so the rest of the time it was just left to us content creators to be like, no, it's not. It's not an expansion. It's like a quest pack, but these quests are different and they're sold to us different. That's all. And they're like, oh, because we didn't know,
Yeah, I think we content creators should not be left the task of explaining what the hell's going on. If we have to figure it out and then explain it to our communities, and then bring that up in Discord, our Discords, to our Twitch chats, to our YouTube chats, or whatever, then something has failed along that process. And again, it is something new, but I think it could have been presented very differently to make it less confusing to people. And quite frankly, the only quest of that I've done more than once is Sleeping with the Fishes, and we'll explain why.
Yeah. So I guess we can get to the to the quests themselves. What do you all think? I mean, yeah, I think Sleeping with the Fishes, which I actually did the optional for the first time this week. Because I'd never done it, but I did. Everyone was saying how amazing it was, so I went ahead and did it.
It was complicated to try to help you through chat.
I was like, how did people figure this out?
Sardonic has a
and I bugged it a
guide
couple
on
times.
The forums, but even
That's such a
having that like
Sardonic.
right here, and you're going through the quest, you still have to pay attention and make sure you get the correct agitators with the thingy.
Yeah. So
otherwise, yeah.
I'll just explain it real quick for anyone listening. So so Sleeping with the Fishes, if you haven't done the optional, it's very different, and it's definitely the highlight of this pack. So basically, you have to find the correct. There's a group of kobolds, a group of Swagan. You have to find the correct. I don't know the name of them, but Inquisitors, I think it is. You have to find the correct ones, which you can do with a wand. That's an in-quest item. There are certain dialogue options you have to go through. You lead them to the end of the quest once you find two of the correct ones. And essentially what it does is it triggers a special event in other areas of the game once you do that optional. So you can then go to Cerulean Hills, and you can go to also the Mithranor wilderness areas and find extra special events that it triggers you for, and you get extra special loot and cutscenes. So it's really neat what they did.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the title tells you exactly what's going on. It's a Romeo and Juliet story.
Yeah, it's also
Sleeping with the Fishes.
Yeah, and they're even named the Swagan and the Kobold. They're named like Julian and I forget the other one, but their names are very similar to Ramiro or something. Yeah, but they're very similar to Romeo and Juliet. But
one of the reasons why you might want to do the optional and go through all of the chicanery to get to the optional is at the finale when you find them in Mithranor, and you do it on Legendary. The chest at the end will pull from the Purple Worm chest from the Purple Rare in the Mithranor Wilderness. So that's why I have the Legendary Helm of the Warblade.
Nice.
Yeah, my one issue with that optional is if you're doing it on heroic, you cannot get to Mithranor until much later because of the level that it is, right? So you do it. You can go out to Sterling Hills. That's nice and easy. You just run out there and get that part of the optional, but you have to wait until you get to a certain level before you could go out to Mithranor to access that secondary chest. So that's the one thing. It's like, am I in it for the long game? Do I just want it done immediately? That was the one thing that I was a little frustrated with when I first did it on heroic.
Yeah, and Trog in Twitch chat also points out that you can do the optional, like get the optional prepped on heroic, and then just go to legendary on your max level character. Well, so you run it on max level, or you do the heroic version and trigger the optional, and then just do the optionals on your main character or your biggie, and just go get the legendary chest out in Mr. Honor. And then the level isn't an issue.
See, I didn't even know Sterling Hill and Mr. North Wilderness areas were part of this quest. This is something I don't know about at all.
Yeah, it triggers.
Okay.
Well, they're not. You don't go to them inside the quest. You actually leave the quest, turn it in, but it flags you for those special events in those wilderness areas. So you have to do the optional and sleeping with fishes to get flagged, and then you get flagged and you have those extra cutscenes and extra chests with exclusive loot in it. Particularly, there's the one thing people wanted was there's glasses that drop in there that are like heart shaped. There's heart shaped glasses.
I got them the first time.
Yeah, nice. Good luck.
I got
And then
the
I
first
showed
pair
the
of
cord over
glasses
and say, "Hey, look what
on
I
the
got."
server.
Did you have a chance to run any of these quests?
I ran them all, but I never did the optional for that because that just seems like a lot of work to me.
It is a lot of work.
It is a lot of
Yeah,
work.
shout out to Waisakai for helping me.
I might do it, but yeah, and just props to whoever figured out how to do that first, because that is like, I don't know how anybody figured that out. Like, how would you actually figure out all the steps that you need?
Because you don't get, you're right, Drac, because you don't get a note saying, okay, now you need to go here, unless you're like paying attention to what the two NPCs are saying. But if you don't trigger the optional, you never hear them say the thing.
Are you saying I have to read in a quest?
Exactly.
That's a foreign concept.
I like, for a guy like me who I don't have altitis, like I'm not the kind of guy that gets like, oh, my tune has all the past lives, I'm gonna do it again on another tune. I'm like, okay, I'll just hang out with my friends in Endgame until new stuff comes up. That's the kind of guy I am. So when I hear stuff like this, I'm like, oh, I want to log in now and figure this out. I am in for jumping through hoops in this game, because that's where I'm at in this game, is finding hoops and stuff and a grind and fun things to do, So I'm really happy to hear that. I wish I knew this existed, but now I'm happy that I get to just do it now.
Yeah, do it once.
Everyone
should do it once. I don't know if I'll do it again, but you should do it once just to see it.
I definitely want to try it after hearing about it now.
There's some guides.
I actually want to do it.
It is a lot of like, you do need to make sure you do things in a specific way and talk to people with specific dialogue options, because if you don't, you can screw it up pretty easily. I screwed it up multiple times. So
if you want just a chest to get the glasses, what you can do is get one person, or you can get like a full party of people in there. 6 people get the optional. Then each one of them separates into their own party, and everyone brings like 5 people that are not flagged. Everyone can open the chest, and each of those 6 people that open the chests will get flagged for the event of Mithranor. So that you can multiply by 6 everyone that gets a chest if you go to each attempt.
Yeah, that's a really good strategy if you just are looking to get the loot for sure.
I just want to touch on one more of these quests, and that's Toil and Trouble. I thought Toil and Trouble was really interesting because you actually work with a hag, which made it's like, okay, this is not someone I normally are going to work with, but the optional of having to clean the blood off the unicorn blood off of the shrine. It's like, ooh, that hits a little different, It was an interesting take on quest optional.
I like that quest as well, again, for the same reason that you're working with a hag rather than immediately trying to murder them. But also the fact that the optional requires you to have either wilderness or religious lore. And so that opens up a whole bunch of characters who are the only ones who can do the optional.
And by the way,
Um,
it also requires. I did that a couple days ago, and I was on a build with 2 barbarian levels, so I had 2 wilderness lore feats. It didn't let me do it. So I guess you have to have a certain amount. You have maybe majority levels in a class like barbarian or something. I don't know, but I couldn't do it with just 2 barbarian levels for whatever reason.
So, any of you guys like Harry Potter fans?
not
Never read a
anymore.
book or watched any of the movies. No.
So in the first book, like I guess like Voldemort, which is the big bad necromancer wizard of this D&D campaign, I guess he just straight up hangs out in the forest next to the school, just drinking unicorn blood to stay like alive. Right. And so when I did this, I was just like, why is this better than the Harry Potter game showing me this scene? Like, all I was picturing is this like thing just like hunting unicorns in a forest. So for me, it hit a Harry Potter note for me. So I like how short it is, to be honest. I hope someone farm it out for gear. I guess there's gear in there that's really relevant still. So that would but the quest specifically that I like is the Enton quest part of this.
No, it's not part of the pack. It's a separate. It's just a free to play quest, so it's separate. It's not part of the pack. But it was during the same update.
Because that one,
we'll talk about that in a second.
That one was the one. But yeah, so I'll wait until that second then.
So, with reference to the whole unicorn blood thing, I actually was also fascinated by the fact that we had to fight an undead unicorn, and therefore the hag couldn't attack, couldn't help us because the unicorn was still part of the, or was it the hag? However, the guardian of the forest couldn't help us with the unicorn because the unicorn was still a sacred creature. It was actually a cool little twist on it. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we have to deal with the undead unicorn. And then I was very sad because undead unicorn. And I was like, can I have that as a mount, please, Standing Stone?
Yes, please. 100%.
It's so interesting considering the unicorn lore, right? Like it's just unicorns are really powerful celestial nature. Like they're celestials. They have in game in Dungeons and Dragons the fastest teleport in game. Their teleport is noted to be faster than other people's teleports, and they know all cleric spells. They can cast high level cleric spells a specific number amount a day, but it's like 4, so which is ridiculous amount considering how many slots you have of high level cleric spells during older D&D. They could just know and cast all of them a certain amount of time a day. They're really powerful. And it is kind of messed up to see one undead or tainted or turned to the dark side. Because you're like, this is an angel of the force.
Right, to have a corrupted unicorn is a big deal. It's like the corruption of the most pure. And so that's why it's such a tragedy to have an undead unicorn on your hands that you have to put down. And, make sure it doesn't make it worse for anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, anything else on the Tavern Tales quest before we go to the next one, which is Dinosaur Crisis?
I want to know how many royalties they paid to Troy about this.
Oh yeah, I know. When is the Axel update or the Nimvind update?
They avoided royalties.
How do you get it? How does one get an update named after them?
The Nimvin update will only happen when this game goes M for mature.
I'm pretty sure they
this
avoided
game is rated M for Militia.
They avoided royalties by just changing the way it was spelled.
Yeah.
Well, they used the actual name rather than Troy's branded name. See, that was Troy's fault, honestly.
Yeah, for anyone listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, Troy Tavern Tales, that's his channel name and all that. So, all right, well, let's go to Dinosaur Crisis.
Nicest guy in the world.
Oh yeah,
it should have been level 6. It was, I don't know, weird level.
But speaking of Troy, and I'm gonna tell you all, this came up, and since we were talking about Dragonlance earlier, Nimbin, did you all know that an actual published official Dragonlance author works for Standing Stone?
No, who is it?
That was
Cordova?
Chris Pearson.
that was
Cordova.
one of
Yeah,
the.
no.
Yeah, Chris Pearson, who wrote a couple of the series, has been the primary lore master of Lord of the Rings Online for like the past 20 years.
Oh, very
Oh,
cool.
so he
So-
was the guy after they released Isle of Dread. He did his segment. The guy with the beard, right? Their
I think he has a good-
lore guy.
Yeah, they have two lore guys. They have the one who does the quests, and then they have the guy who has the books and is going to hit the quest designers if they do something wrong. Now,
I want
Chris
that
Pearson,
job.
He's the one that's got like post-it notes and Bibles about how the lore is and et cetera, et cetera. He does like scholarly discussions and papers at like Tolkien Society events and stuff, like Oxenmoot and whatnot. We've had him as a guest at our moots, we're academic conferences basically, for the university I work for, and my professor is one of the Lojo streamers as well. But there you go, Chris Pearson, official Dragonlance author, works for Standing Stone and has been for 20 years in the Turbine days as well. So there you
Nice.
go.
Okay, well, in this update, we also got Dinosaur Crisis, which, as far as I recall, was the first appearance of the Etten in DDO. And this is not part of Tavern Tales, the quest bundle. This is a separate free-to-play quest. It's level 15. No, it's level 13 heroic.
13.
I don't remember the legendary level, but it's right
The only
there.
epic.
It was the replacement. This is the replacement for Memoirs of Illusionary Larcener, which around, I think a little earlier this year, that during the year, they removed that because it was causing performance issues in the game. So that quest was removed, and this quest was seen as was basically the replacement quest for that. And the NPC is even in the exact same place as the Memoirs NPC was. So yeah, thoughts on this quest? I mean, thoughts on the Etten?
Can they make the leg move?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've said that since Lamania. They still never fixed the animation on the Etten. The legs are not properly animated. I hope they go back and fix that. The other thing I want to see them fix is, for some reason, when you finish the quest, it puts you on the other side of the harbor, and you have to run all the way back through the harbor to get back to the NPC to turn it in. So I wish they would change that so you appear right next to the NPC when you recall out. But
And I
that-
think that depends on if you recall out or if you step out through the door.
does it not do that when you step out? I don't remember which one it is, but I know.
One or the other, yeah. I think it only transports you over there if you do one or the other. I can't remember exactly which.
Yeah, so those are the negative things. I mean, the positive things, it was cool that free-to-play players had a quest. They can get Sun and Moon stuff. And yeah, they also have a quest free-to-play where they can fight in Etten and dinosaurs. I don't think there's been a free-to-play quest before this where you got to fight dinosaurs that I can recall. Maybe in the Isle of Dread prequel quest, possibly. I could be wrong. I don't know. But
I don't think that's free to play.
no, the prequel one. There is
there
one
is
in
a
the hut.
dinosaur in the prequel.
What is
There
what?
is a unusual sized dinosaur or whatever in there.
Okay, yeah, I'm talking about the what is that quest called? The one it's in the hut. It's free. It is free to play. I can't remember what it's called. Dread Sea Scrolls.
The
Thank you.
one with the cell.
Yeah, it's called Dread
Yeah.
Sea Scrolls. Thank you, Vinny. Okay, well,
So what I like about it is talking about Sun and Moon augments is that it doesn't have a legendary side. It has an epic side, which means that it drops epic Sun and Moon augments. And so like in the future, like I've been wanting to kind of add this in the loop so I can start stockpiling epic level augments for the future when they do add epic level Sun Moon items that are interesting enough to switch up, my leveling stuff, towards when they get level 40 out, just kind of get ahead of yourself, start collecting those augments. Because a lot of the sources of augments is just heroic and legendary. There's very little epic level augments sources.
Doesn't it drop all epic one even in Toil and Trouble? Is it?
I'm not sure. In any case, in Dinosaur Crisis, it does drop.
I have one issue with the quest. mostly because it's a level 28. It's in Eberron. It doesn't drop token of the 12.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it should. It should. Yeah. And one other thing I want to say about this quest that this quest and also Tavern Tales is I don't find myself running them that much because the level ranges of the quest are scattered and they're all in completely different places. So I don't like. You kind of have to go out of your way when you're leveling to run like the covered coal vault or one of these quests. Now this one I've run more like Dinosaur Crisis. I'll often when I do an iconic TR, I will start out by doing this one before I do Myth Janor because it's right there at level 13, so it's pretty much perfect. But for the other two, I don't really find myself running very much.
They should be level 6. We're missing so much. We need so much level 6 quests.
Level
Weirdly
9.
enough, I feel like what was it, level 3 or 4? Like I noticed that like there's a level really low where you just have to take your level. You can't just do all the content and hold and cap out. You have to take your level out. Such a low level, and it's weird. It's like right before
There's so much level
Saltmarsh.
3 quests. There's too much level 3 quests.
I think it's level
Hey.
4 is the one that's like you have a ton of level 3, and then you have a few level 4, and then you have a pile of level 5s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know
I could be misremembering because what I've been doing on my winter loot character is staying. I'm capped out on XP, but I remember it's like, oh, I just took this level. Well, I don't have any quests at this level I want to do because hey, yay, I'm not having to do a favor. We'll talk about this later. But it was like, oh, I'm just gonna take my level again and go do this go do Feywild.
Yeah, I mean you have Saltmarsh at 3, you have Feywild at 5, right? And so that added a ton of level or quests to those levels. And yeah, there's not a bunch at 4. The other big dip is at 9.
The Rats quest gives so much XP. You get maybe a 3/4 of all Feywild within those 4 quests.
You know what I've been doing is I just started because where 3 Barrel Cove is, there's too much. So I at that level, instead of doing level 4 quests, I just start my 3 BC stuff because that way I can get all that juicy XP in a life, even if I'm under level. Because by now, if you're 300 past lives in, you should be strong enough to be able to up punch at heroic seal a little bit.
All right, well let's move on to the next update. I think we've covered these quests pretty well. Let's go to update 74. So update 74. Oh, did you have something you wanted to say, Drac, before we moved on?
Nope, I'm
okay.
good.
Okay. All right. Let's. So update 74 was released on June 18th, 2025, and this was the Chill of Ravenloft pre-order. So we got some new races, Dampier, and we also got the Dampier iconic Dark Bargainer, and we got Dark Gifts feats. So first of all, did you all play Dampier or Dark Bargainer this year, and what do you think of those?
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
I built a couple of characters, but I haven't actually played them yet. Though I did get the best names ever for them on Shadowdale.
Nice.
Well,
Bloody Tears.
past life. So yes,
I played.
Yeah, I got all my past lives.
I did do. I did play Dark Bargainer for a while. I haven't played the base Dampier. But yeah, it's cool. So the big thing with these, for anyone who's not familiar, is this was the first time that you had an undead option now as a race. So you can play any class now in DDO as undead if you want to. Now, whether it makes sense to do that or not, that's another question, but you can. You can play an undead whatever, paladin. You can play an undead cleric, whatever you want to do.
it has a crazy healing. The bite is just insane.
Yeah, the bite, that went through a few changes. Like on the Mania, it originally had like limited
3
charges, and then they took that off. And as I was leveling, so I made sure to use, I used all the racial stuff just as I was leveling just to try it out. And yeah, bite is really helpful. It's a heal, kind of it's a decent heal, not like gonna heal your whole all your hit points or anything, but it's a nice heal and it has a nice buff to it. I think it's like +2 to all stats. I think there's a buff.
It could be up to +3.
Up to +3. Okay. Yeah, so it's that's really useful. I like being able to play as undead. Cosmetically, they look cool. Cosmetically, they got kind of a mix of human, elf, Eladrin stuff. So you got the two-toned hair looks. You can have them with fangs and blood running down your face. Whatever you want to do. They're a half vampire race essentially. And then with the Dark Bargainer, they start with one level of Warlock, and they have their own exclusive Warlock Pact, and they also have their choice of a dark gift feat. Whereas later on, when Lamortia expansion came out, they had dark gifts available to everyone there. But if you're a dark bargainer, you just get one, and also if you are a dark bargainer, you can get two, because you can get one from Lamortia and one from the race. So that was very cool. And the dark gifts feats, they give you your option of lots of different ones, but they give you basically a benefit and then some con that goes along with them, some kind of negative traits. And there's big variety. Some give you big bonuses to skills or negative spell power. Some give you like a leap ability. There's a bunch of different options there. As I've gone through Lamortia, and I basically tried them all. I really liked because when I did a melee warlock for my Dark Bargainer life, and I used the one that gives you extended range, and I found that really helpful actually on a two-handed fighting character. It was really nice. Made your range much better.
Yeah, the dark gifts, at first a lot of people were like, oh, on paper you're like, this is all, but then in practice the backdraws aren't that bad, and some of them, they're really fun. It's actually kind of crazy that we're this powerful, and you're like, you know what? You guys hated cursed items, you guys hated this and that, but let's give it one more go. Let's give you a benefit with a backdraw gimmick one more time, and they made it so it's balanced in a way where the backdraws aren't terrible; they just look terrible on paper, and the bonuses, they're actually pretty effective, but they're not groundbreaking, right? Like no one's like soloing R10 everything.
There's a couple that are groundbreaking. The negative energy one is huge. That is a massive amount of negative energy spell power if you're playing an undead build. That's crazy. Like, that's a crazy difference in the build. And then right when it was being released, there was a lot of discussion about, okay, what are the negative traits, like with the negative effects? Because when they initially released this, and they still haven't released specifics regarding, like, it'll just say there's a chance that this negative, like you'll be blinded or something. It'll just say there's a chance. So we had to figure that out as it got released. What are these negative effects? How often does it happen? I found as I was playing, and I'm playing through using a bunch of different ones, that the negative effects are pretty much negligible on the ones that I've tried. They're very negligible. So they're mostly just benefits from my experience. I mean, other than a few exceptions, like for the negative spell power one, you get a huge positive spell power reduction. So if you're running that one, then you probably want to be either soloing or having other people say that also heal with negative energy if you're playing like High Skull or something, because you're going to have a rough time trying to heal yourself. But yeah,
has anyone played around with the web one? Because when you upgrade that one, like, is it good? Because it looks really gnarly.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you do get the negative effects sometimes, but it's not. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't proc very often, and when it does proc, it's for a short duration. So yeah, it's.
I think that's one thing about the dark gifts is, again, it's a question of presentation, and I believe it was it Steel Star Torque, but whoever was in charge of it basically made it point blank clear that yes, they're not intended to be all good and no downside. It's the risk versus reward sort of situation, and you have to decide for yourself, is the risk worth the reward or not? And I think they did present it clearly in that regard, but I think on some level it's the natural human reaction of like, well, I don't want anything bad. I only want the good. So these are not going to work with my build because I can't afford to have that, whatever amount of negative behavior happening to me for like 3 to 5 seconds. However, that's going to impact my DPS. That could cause a raid wipe. I think there were a lot of concerns about that early on. I don't know if they've been mitigated by people actually playing through it, but there was like, why would I take this because this is going to make me, raid wipe on an R10 or something.
See, from my experience, and I played not all of them, but I played around with a lot of them because I've made it a point every time I do Lamortia, and I get because for anyone listening who doesn't know, if you run the Lamortia saga, you can from the saga in reward list get an offering that you then run to the altar in the wilderness area. You can turn that in to get a dark gift feat on any character, and I've made it a point to try the different ones. And from my experience in general, the negative traits are negligible. And they either aren't that significant, or if they are significant, they don't last very long. They just last for a handful of seconds. So, or they just don't proc very often. So yeah, it's mostly all positive for me, at least my experience. So don't be shy. Take them.
I find it funny though that this game, even before it was SSG and when it was Turbine, they were always wanting to put in a gimmick, maybe because it's D&D, because D&D has this where they're like, hey, this is a powerful item, but if you wear it, it's cursed, or if we give you this, you also have to deal with this. Like, so there's someone in the company that's like, man, I remember when you get like a cool Vorpal sword, but it's sentient and it hates you, like
Yeah,
getting something cool, but it's something bad. Yeah.
The other thing I want to say is if they do go away, like if you take one and maybe you don't like it, they do go away on an epic reincarnation. I don't know about lesser reincarnation, but I suspect they would, since they do on epic reincarnation, and those are kind of based on the same system. So yeah, and you can also, someone mentioned in chat here, you can get the dark offering and hold it for later. So yeah, it's pretty flexible. If you don't like the one you have, you can remove it by at least epic TRing or just TRing. All right. Well, any other thoughts on Dampier, Dark Bargainer, Dark Gifts, or any of the other pre-order stuff like the cosmetics and anything else in the pre-order bundles?
I love the floating. I am excited for this cosmetic. They introduced the walking style toggle with this, right? And you're floating around. It looks bad. It's the first one. Forgive it. In the future, they're gonna be able to be like, hey, do you ever want to walk like a cool pimp in 1970s? Like you ain't got to care of the world. Like with your hand in your pocket, you stride real far, and I'm like, yeah, it's like $50. Oh, okay.
You look like Rudy from the Cosby Kids.
With that one, I don't use it. The lean's a little much. The lean's a little much. You're just kind of like leaned all over, looking at the ground.
So about the
like
movement style.
Criminal.
Yeah, about the movement style. It's a notion that it's not a direct one-to-one port, but the other game had them first. In fact, they introduced that whole notion with a Tom Bombadil, where you're basically skipping down the road, waving your hands about. It's amazing. But they have more of them over there, so I imagine we're gonna get more over here. Maybe with whatever the next. Yeah, I mean, as a first, honestly, when I first saw it, I'm like, that's Snoopy looming over Lucy's head, like sitting on Lucy's head, playing Vulture. And if
Can't
you
unsee that now.
Yep, there you go. But it does kind of look better if you have the blue dragon wings from Year of the Dragon. They need to let everybody have those.
I have one comment on the biggest failure of the set when it came to cosmetics. Why can we not have Drosshart's cosmetics for characters? That is the biggest failure that they had out of all the cosmetics.
Why did the hireling get the Plague Doctor mask and not us? Standing Stone, please.
Coming February 2026, the Drosshart coffer.
No. We should actually talk about Drosshart the hireling, actually, when we get to that, because the hireling...
Yeah, we can talk about it now.
Sometimes he's good.
It's part of the pre-order.
Well, I find... I've been running a Dark Hunter Favorite Soul Inquisitive for my winter loots, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to spend my Thieves' Tools. Drossheart, pick me up. I'll do the trapping. You do all the locks. And sometimes he's good, and sometimes he ain't. And I find he's pretty squishy. I don't actually use him on Legendary because
he throws darts.
He does throw dart. He throws a spectral dagger. It's the same spectral dagger from Night Rebels, and that's interesting. But he's far too squishy, in my opinion. So I don't run with him.
Oh, it's
I run.
Alchemist.
Yeah, but I love playing an alchemist myself.
Alchemist is squishy, but they're good.
What's interesting
They
is
can-
that like last hireling that we got from expansion was
Rana.
so good.
Yeah.
So good. And then they're like, oh yeah, we need one for, like, it kind of felt like they just added this one at the end, and that's why it has art that's not even in the expansion and stuff.
I
They're
just
like,
don't know what
"Oh,
they
yeah."
can do with hirelings. You're either going to use them for trapping or for healing, and if they're never going to make, for balance reasons, they're never going to make them good offensively. So I don't know
No, they can't.
what they can do. They can only offer a rogue or a healer, and if it's not that, then no one's going to care. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, when I normally run, I'm running solo with a pack of 5 expansion hires. Well, okay, 4 expansion hires and then the vendor hire. Albrecht is greater than Bulwark. Don't at me, Cordovin.
Nimit is the best.
No, disagree. Gently disagree. Strongly disagree.
Now,
Strongly but politely disagree.
the only thing
But
which
either way.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No. Either way, when I'm running, I'm going with the vendor hire. Froggo. Froggo is actually better than Darling in my opinion. Again, she's squishy. The were-rat thing is like, why is that an active skill? Feywild Muse is amazing because he will make Reapers dance. And he can do just random reses. So he's just kind of there. He'll throw really cool spells that you don't have on his hotbar, and can help save you from wiping. And then I have like Teal, and who's my 5th? I don't remember, but it's Rana. Once Rana came out, Rana was the star.
I mean, like, there's things that they could do, like Mikkel, the fighter, he with the D-Door dragon mark. They could give us more D-Doors. They can give us a hireling that's really good at dispelling magic for those weird quests where, like, hey, there's an illusionary wall.
Spell
you
words.
need to dispel magic. Yeah, and spell words. You know, like they're, I like the wizard bot that had the haste, right, and then the muse that had the haste, something that gives you a little buff at a low level, like a 30-second haste without drinking a pot. You just have a hireling, stuff like that. I'd appreciate. But then they give us this hireling who, sometimes throws a vial and does a little AoE damage at endgame, but in heroics, what is he doing if he's not melting a lock?
Yeah.
He's really not doing much. Also, a dispel magic. We need more hires with that because I had to take an underlevel hire into Isle of Dread for All Hail to the King because of that whole optional side wing that you. And I actually like that mechanic. It's like, okay, I detected a door, but I can't open it on my trapper. I need somebody who's got dispel magic, and like a level 8 hire has it, but I was running it level 9 or level 10. It was like my hireling was up to the task.
Yeah, and chat mentioned a few things. They could mention, Unger says they can introduce an arty hire with some weapon buffs. That's true. They could do some buffs, so they could do, like a Mikhail the Pious, D-Door, one with D-Door. That would be nice. That's a good point.
Yeah, higher level one with D-Door.
But various other, because some of them have buffs, like Blur, like the Sharn one I think has Blur. So they could think of some other buffs, I guess, and make a buffing hireling.
High epic hirelings.
Yes.
For platinum.
I would love to have a rogue in epics.
Exactly, because even, if you don't have buffs to help, the highest level rogue that you can get for plat cannot do Haunted Halls of Evening Star barely on hard, maybe.
See, this is where SSG's content creator program needs to kick in. They're like, okay, every month and the 20th anniversary, we're going to release a sentient and hireling bundle, and each one of them is going to be a sentient gem and a hireling copy of a content creator. And they're either going to be epic level hirelings, and so they're going to be $70. It's a sentient gem and a hireling. and then they're like, okay, Axel, can you do January? We're gonna need you to do some voice lines for the sentient gem. And the hireling's
It's in
cool because this
October.
you know what I mean? The hireling can even say these lines too. So it's like really these hirelings are unique because they can talk. And that would be cool. And then everyone would be happy. They get money. We get to do some voice acting for our favorite game. Everyone gets their favorite content creator as a sentient gem or hireling. I like
And
that.
it's not like we don't have all we got the fancy microphones and everything.
Hey,
can
I'm
do
in.
it.
I'm in.
We can
I'll
do it.
settle for being a trash mob in a dungeon. It'd be cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind
I
just
mean,
being like a poster line in this game.
Nah, that would be quite the honor. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe have us do like an alternate DM voice for a quest or something. Like there's the professional one, and then there's the content creator. Like it would have to be a short quest, so something like Into the Mist or something.
Remember, was it Haunted Halls where they had like once you beat it, you can do it with like extra dialogue, right?
There's so much dialogue in there.
What if like when you beat, after a couple TRs, you can unlock content creator dialogue where we can like teach them how to do a quest. Like we just have like a audio overlay that they can access, and then they'll go into quest and like, oh, I'm lost, and then Axel's like, go left. Like,
like the audio version of Big B's floaty hand.
Yeah.
Don't go that way, you idiot. Yeah.
I actually had to call
Always doing that.
Patrick, the former DDO cast guy, during Hardcore Season 1. I was doing the raid in Giant Hold, and the person next to me was like, we have 5 seconds. And I was like, and I grabbed my phone and I called Patrick for, and I was like, and I had him on the phone on the live stream calling him. I'm like, I'm about to kill all these people on Hardcore. Can you help me learn this puzzle? And he walked me through it, and we got our completion. So it works.
All right.
Yeah, it works.
Let's move on, guys, to update 75, unless you all have anything else you want to say on the pre-order stuff. All right. So update 75 was released on August 20th, 2025, and it was the release of the Chill of Ravenloft Lamortia expansion. So we got the Land of Lamortia Wilderness, 13 new quests. They are levels 8 heroic and 36 legendary. We got Victranium experiment crafting. We got, as mentioned before, dark gifts available now to all characters via the altar in the wilderness through the Quest Saga reward. And yeah, what do you guys think about the expansion looking back? Like, are you playing it often? How much have you engaged with the crafting system? How much loot have you gone after? And then we'll talk about the raid afterwards. But just about the wilderness and the quest and the public area. What do you all think looking back?
Speaking of the wilderness, I do like the whole Victorian Germany vibe to everything, and that comes through, and also the voice acting. I do think the wilderness does lack a little something. I think it's too much of there's a whole bunch of streets of buildings. Even knowing that, oh, hey, they had to cut down all the trees for firewood, there would still be some sort of plant life or some sort of something other than snow on the ground. So it does feel a little lackluster in that regard. And it's a sharp contrast to old forest, old growth forest in Mr. Anor that goes for miles and miles and miles. I do appreciate the smaller wilderness thing. It's a lot quicker to do the loop with the rares. I do like the factory vibe. I love being able to ride my mounts up the fire escapes, which are surprisingly solid for a Victorian era Germany, and run around the rooftops like Spider-Man or something. That's pretty cool. And
I just interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
I think they should have put a quest up there, entrance on top of a building. That's what I think they should have done. So you actually have a
I
reason
totally
to do
agree
it.
with you on that.
There's a lot to that actually. But go ahead, Drew. It's fine.
No, just in general, I love a lot of the new mobs, the cold dudes. Those look freaking amazing.
They do. Those look really cool.
I love them so much. I also love and hate the domestic poltergeists, only because they will wreck some of my characters and not wreck other ones. And my cold druid is having a little bit too much not fun with the snow poltergeists because she casting cold spells and it's healing them. I was like, oops. So I actually had to switch her back to fire spec for a little bit just to keep her, from being terrible. But then all of her stuff is set for cold, and it's like, I have to dual spec this.
I have a terrible memory, but was it you, Nomad Dog, or Tavern Tales who interviewed a dev about the wilderness area in Lamordia?
That was Troy.
Okay.
We talked to him Knockback.
Yeah, and that was a great interview because one of the things that he was able to tell us was that the wilderness area had more to it that they wanted to do, but they just couldn't do it. So like here, it makes sense that some people aren't completely satisfied with the wilderness area because
Like
it
the
kind of
Vistani
had,
was supposed to be a thing.
yeah, and because SSG feels the same way. Like they're like, we could have did more with the wilderness area, or but honestly, aesthetically, I like it. I like the whole experience. I wish the only thing I wish was a little bit more eccentric, or as eccentric as this theme is to DDO is the loot. I wish the loot wasn't just Isle Dread but hotter. Like
Yeah, with the loot
I
in this
wish it was more
expansion,
unique.
yeah, they were just like, okay, do whatever you want. Here's a loot.
Yeah,
Make whatever you want.
the,
There's like 2
the
effects
loot
and
is
a
great.
billion
The loot,
slots. Go ahead.
the loot is great, but the issue with it is that you can't just run and pick something and use it like right away. It's super weak if you want to use it as you pick it up. You have to run the whole thing, gather all your ingredient, and then run it. You can't just go as you go and pick up loot. It's super weak.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's very different than Isle of Dread in that regard, because Isle of Dread was basically your minor artifacts that you could put, augments in, and then your weapon. But your armor was a whole piece of armor that you're doing a whole separate, a normal set bonus if you're trying to go for the set bonuses. But the armor itself, I'm fire mouse helmet is my favorite thing, because hey, underwater action is my favorite thing on a non-warforged, and on dump here. But in general terms of the loot, yeah, I've got like a whole bunch of Lamortia loot in my bank because I can't use it yet. I haven't done the farming for all the mats because I need to run this quest over and over and over again, and I haven't had that opportunity yet. But hey, I'm running them now.
yeah, that's the thing I've always said with this expansion and kind of the direction they've gone with loot and Smith Janor is you get a lot more flexibility, but the downside is the farming is heavier. I mean, 'cause when you speak of something with all these crafting slots and Sun Moon on it, you got to farm out the piece of loot you want. You got to farm out the Sun Moon augments you want. You got to get the ingredients. Then you have to do all the crafting. So it's a lot of work compared to, say, back in the day when you ran Sharn for the first time. You get your 3 pieces of gear, you put it on, you're ready to go. It's more work even to get that flexibility.
Not to mention that it just didn't fit the flow of what was going on gear wise for me to even want to do that grind, because like I just grinded out like Myth Janora gear, and Myth Janora gear is still good enough for end game. You know what I mean? Like if I want to get my numbers a little bit higher, I could grind that stuff out. But then I'm like, but my gear is like already perfect. I have all the stats and all the things that I want. I can get this stuff eventually. But if they introduce this during, I don't know, like where Myth Janor was introduced, I would be really invested in this loot system, right? They just introduce it in a time where I'm not motivated to get into this loot. Right, maybe the expansion afterwards would be a bump enough for me to do this kind of grind. But this, I'm just not gonna pick up a goggle that has like one thing on it and a bunch of slots, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dedicate my next month of my life to this. You
Yeah.
know, and I already have good goggles.
Yeah, you kind of have to decide that you're going to stay on in game with that character for an extended period of time to make all that work kind of worth it. And I'm the same way. I don't, it tends to be every few years that I'll go and actually create a brand new gear set rather than, because I'm not going to, because we all know how it is in DDO. You can't just use the one new trinket or whatever that you like in the expansion. You have to get rid of everything and do the gear Tetris all over again, because you remove one thing, that means you have to remove other things. So practically you have to change one thing, you have to change everything, which is, I mean, the ups and downs, the pros and cons of DDO and the way they've gone over the years with their loot design, not being as static, having certain effects always only in certain slots rather than other slots. When they've gone this way with the crafting, with kind of any effect can be almost anywhere at this point, it really makes it so that the loot Tetris is high. It's for sure.
Not me spending 3 hours before our stream last night doing gear Tetris on my
like,
PDK Paladin.
it would be so much
After
easier.
I'd already done like 3 hours of prepping, and then I had to actually continue on. Yeah.
It would be so much easier. For example, I don't know, quality strength only ever existed on one specific slot. That way, it would be more easy to replace, one item with the new item. But because everything can kind of be everywhere, the loot Tetris mandates you replace everything if you want to change one thing.
When he said that, all I heard was, I miss when 20 was the cat. Because that's how
it was. Yeah, that's how it was back then. It used to be a lot more fixed.
Great false life belt.
Like your striding was only on boots, or I don't know. There's other examples.
Featherfall only on cloak.
Yeah, like it's not that way anymore. Anything can be anywhere. So
Strength on belt.
Yeah.
Plus 6 strength belt.
Bracers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My con was
block
on my
on
belt.
anything.
But yeah, I mean, for me, the expansion, I guess.
Sacred on your boots.
Yeah. Overall,
I actually found a sacred pair.
it's for me. It's fine. For me. The expansion's fine. It's kind of average for me, to be honest. It's not bad. It's not amazing. It's not as good as the original Ravenloft expansion. But maybe it's because it didn't really, it copied a lot from Isle of Dread. It always feels like it doesn't have, to me, an identity, because it's like the loot is kind of a mix of Myth Janor and Isle of Dread, and then you have the setting is kind of aside from the original Mists of Ravenloft expansion. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't, I've always felt that way. I've never been able to make up my mind about this expansion. It just doesn't really have an identity. It's not bad. It's not amazing. It's not bad. It's fine. You can go run the quests. I like some of the quests. It doesn't really introduce any new mechanics or new puzzles or anything like that makes it stand out. Like when you think of Sharn, for example, I think of the Sewer Sluts. Like that kind of defines that expansion for me, because that was just such a different thing at the time.
It was on like 2 quests.
Yeah, I know it was only on a couple quests, but it was such a different thing they did with that expansion. And plus you have things like the Forge Race and Sharn that really made you play differently. And that's the thing with the monsters in Lemordia. They look really cool, the new ones, but they don't make you play you play the game any differently. Not the way like Forge Race did, where you had to have, say, like fire absorption, and you had to move a certain way when you fought them to avoid their flame hand attack.
I personally feel like
Turn them.
I personally feel that this year was doomed from being a 11 out of 10 year, because next year is their 20th anniversary, and that's a big milestone for a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming up in just 2 months.
Yeah, so like they were already planning for their 20th anniversary last year, so I feel like nothing would be peak DDO this year, but this year actually ended up being filled with goodies and fun, irregardless of them probably even getting pressed by Daybreak to make next year a very profitable and promotable experience for the game.
I hope so.
Being 20 years old.
It is a big year.
I mean, it would have been, the pressure to have an amazing 20th anniversary is very powerful. Coming off the recent 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons in general, and we had the really cool Year of the Dragon. So if you were there for the Year of the Dragon, you got a lot of really cool stuff. If you were not, like, Dragon Disciple for free, Dragon Lord for free. But if you missed out on Year of the Dragon, well, sorry. You have to, buy the various things or you don't get them at all. But coming to, the Chill of Ravenloft, I think the one thing that disappoints me the most about Chill of Ravenloft is all of the vampire iconography. It's like, oh, you're going to get dump here. It's vampires. I'm like, that would have worked better with OG Ravenloft versus this because there's no vampires in it. Where the hell's the vampires in this? There's one. There's one vampire in one quest, and that's it. Other than that, you can play.
It's an optional.
It's an option. Right? You don't even have to play it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's like Marvin the Martian asking, "Where's the Earth Shattering Kaboom? Where's the Earth Shattering vampires? Dang it!" But beyond that, it's okay. I actually love Mithranor because I'm an elf nerd. Sorry, it's just been and I love old growth forest, so I don't really mind riding around the wilderness in Mithranor. And also the colors of half the armor in Mithranor are my favorite colors. So this is always not going to be as awesome for me as that, but as an expansion, I've been having fun playing the quest. It's a nice, different thing. It feels more modern. So that's a nice little change of pace. But you'd said that there wasn't anything that really stuck out as the new thing, but the Dark Gifts is a new thing with this expansion. So that brings something new to the table that people can either choose or not as they like. The Victranium experiment crafting, they can choose or use, however they like. But I would also like to go back to something that I think it was Ungermac said in Twitch chat, about how the big bad for this expansion didn't feel as iconic. Like Strahd was like all over OG Ravenloft, and you had to deal with him no matter what you were doing. But I appreciate the story that they told based on the canon that they brought it from, and they didn't shy away from that. Let's talk about the fact that in this day and age, a gay story is not one that companies are really willing to do unless they are a gay company. So to have that story there was important, and that they didn't shy away from it. They said, this is what it is. They just didn't make a big deal of it. It's just, here it is. Have fun. But that being said, the character of Dr. Mordenheim really did not have that iconic stature. It's like, when we were done with the quest and, the end of Snowfall and Sunlight, it's like, oh, okay. And she wasn't the big bad of the raid. And I understand why that is, but it didn't feel like, going into Sunlight at the end of OG Ravenloft and you have a fight with Strahd. And it was important and you had to actually do the mechanics to defeat Strahd. And then you have 5 years of exposition about the Sun Sword and Sergei and Tatiana, which was really beautiful. It hit better back then. And it's not because, the Lamortia one did not hit, but it wasn't because it was a gay story. It was because of the strength of the story itself.
That's a hard comparison, though.
It is. It really is, but it's going to be a comparison.
But so when Ravenloft came out, their intention was to make it really close to the module. So there was a lot of good lore, good timing built up to epic fights that were already been written since like the 80s and redefined throughout all the editions. Now, Lamornia, they had to pull that out of pocket. And that's going to be really hard to compare to a module that's been rewritten and re-released with it for like the last 40, 50 years.
Yeah, I mean,
I just had to throw my head.
No, you're right. You're exactly right. That's part of the problem is OG Ravenloft and Strahd, they are such an iconic, the general public who don't normally get into D&D have some idea who Strahd is. They have no idea who Dr. Mordenheim is. Bringing it back to the whole Frankenstein story, we all know who Frankenstein is, but we don't. It doesn't have the same cachet, as it were. And so I think that did hamper some of that notion of how awesome this expansion could be. Is that we didn't really have that same expectation of who these characters were, and we didn't really care about them all that much.
Yeah, they people definitely people want more Strahd for sure, and I hope at some point they go and maybe do an adventure pack or something back in the original Mr. Ravenloft area and give us more Strahd stuff.
And the other big thing is when it comes to the lore, they pulled this from the 5e version of Ravenloft. It's not from the 3.0 or 3.5 version where it was an entirely different story.
Which, in my
Different people,
opinion, was a mistake. They should have did the 3.5 version.
right? And so it's for those people who are invested in D&D and have been around the lore for a while and understand it. You know, it like I think all of us have probably been around D&D for a while, and you know, so we have a certain expectation of what I was expecting to see, right? I was expecting to see, you know, the analog for Frankenstein's monster as like the bad guy, right? And that's not what we ended up getting. Not that I haven't you know, not that I didn't like the story. I thought the quests were good. I thought the story overall was good. Interesting things that we haven't encountered before. You know, in terms of the wilderness and things like that. The vibe was good. I liked all of it. The story for me just wasn't as captivating as I think it could have been. But that's me. For other people, it might be a better story for them.
Yeah, Drac, what do you think?
Well, it's interesting to hear everybody. As I said on my podcast, I haven't had a chance to run any of this yet due to just some real life stuff. So I'm looking forward to doing this because Lamortia has always been one of my favorite domains in Ravenloft. And it's interesting to hear everybody's take on this because the same discussions has been around for a while. When Lamortia first was introduced, people kind of had the same reaction. And then when they retconned it and changed it for 5e, there was a big discussion about the same thing everybody's been talking about is why did you change this so much compared to the original Lamortia? Because if you know the story of the original Lamortia, it's so much better. It's really more Frankenstein's monster than what the conglomeration they made for 5e.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When D&D retconned it for 5e, did they did what DDO did and where they added Adam towards the end or like, hey, this is the story that you could have had, which for me felt like a slap in the face. And then like,
yes,
yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, like
I
Adam
hated that
played
Adam
second.
was there.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I'm
that
like,
should have been your big
guy.
bad, right? Yeah, that's in 3.5. That was the whole point of Lamortia and it was the Frankenstein's. Like it was the Frankenstein to the Dracula Strahd basically in pen and paper, and then they retconned it, and then and nobody really knows why they did it, but I mean, because Hasbro WotC would never really say why they did it, but I mean, there's a lot of speculation why, but yeah.
I find it interesting that they double dipped into the Frankenstein thing in the Ravenloft franchise because technically Ravenloft 2 House on Griffin Hill also kind of had a Frankenstein feel. Yep. And then they're like, well, we should just give it its own land as well.
Yeah.
The storyline.
All right. Well, anything else in the expansion, guys, before we move on to there is the raid we need to talk about. Relentless, which was released with patch 7. So this was several months. I don't remember how many months, but it was several months after the main expansion dropped. We got Relentless. How much have you guys run? Has everyone run the raid, or is anyone yet to run the raid? What do you think of it?
Ran it once.
Ran it once? And then I think Drac,
you said someone
you hadn't run it.
I wouldn't say I ran the raid. I would say I've had my guild speed run it in front of me 6 times the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's one of those raids where if people weren't making it look so easy, it actually kind of looked like it was fun with the statues and all that. It's a fun looking raid. Sadly, it is trivial on hard.
Yeah, it's scaled to be a little easier. Like I'm telling everyone, if you're not a raider, Like anyone, just think of it as a normal 6-person quest. You can go do on normal. I think most parties would have no problem doing it on normal with 6 people. But I think some of the parts of the raid are cool. Like the statues are a really good idea. I like the statues and how they slam. You kind of have to look out for them. The relentless killer, he's a very cool looking raid boss. I like the penalty box mechanic. I like the having to watch out for his like whirlwind attack thing he does with his sai. The downsides is the raid's just way too small in scope. I think for us only getting one raid. I mean, it's like 5 minutes, and it's just over instantly. And there's not enough party coordination stuff in the raid. You know, for it to be the only raid and expansion, it's way too small in scope. And why did it take multiple months to release this? I don't know, but I want there to be more complex raids that require something more party coordination, more mechanics, more puzzles, multiple different phases, something that's not just DPS and that lasts longer, and not just lasts longer because you give all the mobs a bazillion hit points, but lasts longer because there's multiple phases with multiple interesting things to do.
I don't like that you can get bugged out in the penalty box. Like it took so long to release this, and you can still get stuck somewhere in this raid.
Yeah. Can you get stuck in there? I mean, you was it bugged for a while because you just have to kill the stuff in the room and then it'll let you out.
I had a tank last time I run it get stuck in the penalty box, and we had to like kite the whole raid.
Really? Okay. I've never ran into that.
It must not happen often then, but we had it bugged, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Anything else on the raid, guys, before we move on to the next update? Or actually, wait, we have more stuff to talk about in Update 75. Okay, well, in Update 75, we also got the Night Revels. So the Night Revels came back. They added some new rewards. They added the Sentient Jewel of the Black Abbot. They added the Purple Reaper Steed. And then a Hag cosmetic set, which was the Hag's Queen Cloak, Hag's Queen Hat, and Hag's Queen Robe. So did you all run Night Revels this year? In terms of quests, mostly the same. I think it was all the same, basically, as last year. They still didn't fix
I found that Shop Tree Drop has an extra chest in it.
Did they? Did they add something to that one?
No, I think it was always there. I just didn't know it was there. If you do the jumping puzzle in the main room, and you hit the little eyeball switches, and it unlocks a chest on top of the big skull.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
That was there last year.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it was.
And they still didn't fix, what is it? Only one of the quest drops, what is it, almonds?
Yeah,
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Let's get that fixed for next year. Come on.
They increased the
Words.
reward of the other quests because of that bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had to run the other quest 5, yeah.
But
As always with me
caramels.
and Night Rebels, I love grave work. I love smashing pumpkins. Those are my 2 favorites. The other ones are okay.
yeah, smashing pumpkins, I don't mind if I'm in a group. If I'm solo, I think it's pretty miserable. But the other ones they're fine. I do think they were a little too generous on was it Sentient Jewel? I think it was way too low priced.
Oh my god,
Oh,
they
it was
underpriced
way
the hell
too
out of
easy
that.
to get.
Yeah, they messed
Yeah.
up there. Kind of like with the steed in previous years. What was it? The first steed. They made it way too low in terms of ingredients, but so it didn't have the
They messed
replayability I think that players would have liked this year. I know it's a weird thing to complain about it being too cheap, but
I mean, I appreciate it because I have limited time, so I'm like, hey, this is going to be easy for me to get this gem this year.
yeah, but it doesn't make it as special if it's because everyone's
Well,
gonna have it and
Exactly.
Well, compared to having to grind the anniversary to get the Kobold gem, or any of the previous the previous like the Dragon gem or whatever. I appreciate the.
I have so many of the festive ingredient to buy stuff that I don't even need to farm anymore for the next 2 or 3 years.
yeah.
Well, with Night Rebels, they make your stuff go away.
Yeah, they need to
I
fix
understand
that.
why. No, they don't actually.
Well,
otherwise,
people have
you're
been
exactly-
selling old keys on the auction now.
Well, they
still
need to
this
fix
year.
that. I agree. They need to fix that.
Yeah, they need to
part,
fix
so-
that.
It's like once the event is over, the match should not be bank or auctionable. But in general terms, it's Night Rebels. I love Halloween because I'm an October baby, so I'm always about a little bit of spookiness. It's not too gory, like Diablo gory or Divinity gory. Oh my god. Um, but yeah, it was fun. I didn't run it as much as I probably would have because there wasn't anything I really felt that I wanted other than, yeah, I wanted to get one of the jewel. I listened to the jewel. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm never going to slot this, but okay, I've got one. I'll throw it in the bag and ignore it.
Have you guys actually used it?
Yeah,
Like,
the
how's the
jewel,
voice acting on the Jewel itself?
it's good. It has more lines than there is in the raid. And some people were like, "Oh, the voice actor died, so they used lines that weren't used." But there was lines in it that were clearly sentient gem lines, like that wouldn't be in the raid. Like, "Oh, let's see what loot we get." And you're like, Vecna wouldn't say that, or I mean, Black Abbott wouldn't say that after you kill him. Or like, he's like, "Oh, let's see what loot," you know what I mean? Like, so obviously there was new lines in there, and so that's my thing about this year's Night Revels is that the rewards are, besides the sentient gem. I didn't actually, the sentient gem was a surprise for me. I expected it to all be kind of lame, just like, hey, remember that black hat? It's purple this year. And remember that
Yay!
red horse? It's yellow this year. And then be happy. And then that's it. But then the sentient gem came out, and I'm like, yeah, we got something new, which is actually
But we knew
pretty
that they were coming up
awesome.
with a sentient gem. Because Cordo had hinted that there was one in the works. I was a little bit surprised it came out so soon. But me, for Night Rebels this year, I just got one of the gems, and then I just got festive augments. That's it. I really wasn't too fussed about any. I mean, I do want a sentient jewel of the hag, but I don't necessarily want to wear hag outfits, so I didn't actually farm any of those up.
I farmed out the cloak because I like the black cloak, but I'm like, oh, well, what if the purple one would look better with an outfit? So having two different colors of a cool like cloak that is actually weathered. That's like the coolest cloaks in my opinion is the ones that look like they've been on an adventure or two. I don't
Oh
like you
yeah.
get this powerful cloak and it looks like you just got it tailored and clean. You're like, I'm about to go through some lava, you know.
It'll be fine. Yeah,
It's
it'll
one
come out
thing about
spotless.
for example, the black rose cloak, or any, that cloak looked like it's seen sometimes, but it
Yeah, I
goes with
love
the theme
that.
of that coffer.
Okay, well, anything else, guys, on Night Revels? I mean, Night Revels is Night Revels. I think it's most people's favorite event, and even if nothing else, you can always run it for first time XP. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that XP. I went through 10 iconic past life during the event, and I managed to get all the items just every past life running back the event.
okay, so we also got, let's see, in this update, one thing I added in here was the DDO content creator program launched in August. So for us, that was cool. I think everyone here is in the program, so it just gave us an ability to work a little closer with SSG and communicate with them, and they give us stuff to give away. So that's why I'm in it. It gives me stuff to give away to Twitch viewers and all that stuff. So and they'll sometimes throw out market our videos and stuff on their social media and all that. So yeah, any thoughts on the creator program?
Um, One thing need to be more need to know stuff more in advance. The Symphony was just
Yeah,
throw so fast without any notice.
yeah, we'll talk about that for sure when we get to Symphony, because that was, yeah, that very little notice on that.
So
Well, I
I'm
can
gonna.
speak to the notion of a content creator program mainly because one of the folks I mod for on Twitch used to run the one for Blizzard, um, uh, and this is kind of it's a Daybreak wide initiative, so all of their games are getting something similar. I think EverQuest just launched this recently. Lotro is probably going to launch theirs sometime soon, early in the next year. Um, a lot of it is just basically trying to get folks like us gather together to where we could collaborate with each other more easily and then have standing stone promote things. Um, I think it does fall short of a professional content creator program because, yeah, they throw freebs at us, and Cordo has been pretty good about promoting various people's like content creator so and so is doing this thing and link their video. But in terms of the back end of us working with Standing Stone, we've kind of been left a little bit on our own. There has been very little direction from them as to what they want. It's just okay, throw your videos in this channel in Discord, and okay, we'll post them on social media. Versus what I see the interaction in other programs. So it's definitely a step up from even the DDO stream team, where it's just like we all just stream on DDO stream for whatever, and go on with the rest of our day. So it's more formalized, but it's not to where other companies tend to run their content creator and slash influencer programs. I think we could do with a bit more hands-on from Standing Stone in that regard.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Gordo is kind of running this kind of alone, I guess. So that's a lot for him, plus the rest of everything. So he might need a bit of help.
Yeah, he's got a
He's
lot
not
of.
running
Most
this
other
alone.
companies.
Yeah, it's true.
No,
He's
he's
not. He has a
got,
couple
Wes.
people to help with the codes.
Snipes is Wes is the brand manager for Standing Stone. He does it for both games, and he's doing some of the stuff, but he doesn't generally interact with us other than say, "Hey, I sent your codes out. Let me know if they work, etc., etc." And he's very quick on fixing them if something goes wrong, and it hasn't really gone wrong or anything like that. But in general terms, most companies that have such a program, they have an employee whose job it is to run that program. That's their thing. That's all they do. And we know Standing Stone is like, I kind of think about them in terms of that they're like the staff of a mom and pop bodega trying to run a big box store. So they got this big game, they got this big ideas, but they only have, we've got Cordo, and he needs a clone. He needs a clone. That's
So,
the bottom line.
Well, and he
He's
also
got
does
way too much stuff to do.
Lotro community manager. It's like this is
Exactly.
only half of his
Yeah.
job. It's like he's
Yeah.
So back in
That's why they need
2023,
somebody else.
back in 2023, we told Cordovan that we were, me and Voodoo were going to Vegas with a handful of other content creators to TwitchCon, and he told us to meet up with this guy, and this guy ended up being an employee for Daybreak, and he was the guy who's in charge of Daybreak's content creator program, and he wanted to meet with us. And then they didn't start their website until like a year later. And so on the Daybreak, you can actually find their content creator program page there. And then like, so we were, me and Voodoo's been waiting for this since 2023. And like the people on SSG's side that talks to us, I don't is very small compared to the rest of the group. Because this is a Daybreak program, so like it's not necessarily all on them, but then again there's other games that they're focusing on, and maybe more I don't know, it's DDO, like they're probably not spending a lot of their efforts looking at us and trying to flip a house on like they're probably don't require much from our side of the Daybreak program either. Like,
yeah, and that's one
until
thing.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, Vinny in chat says, yeah, we kind of brought this up, but yeah, they don't require, like, as far as us, it's like there's no effects on like what we make or how often we upload. Really, I mean, they require like 2 things a month, which can be a stream or a video or whatever. So it's like I don't know, but I think most of us here already do way more than that anyways. So it's like there's really no requirements.
If you look at the page that they put out where everybody can apply, they actually make it sound way more professional and way more formalized than how it actually turned out. It definitely, the reality versus the ideals. Like the ideals, like, okay, it was the actual page that says what you need to do is like you need to have so many followers, you need to be on these platforms, you need to do TikTok videos or YouTube shorts, TikTok videos, those things. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to diversify your portfolio of presentations and content creation. And I'm like, no, bro, I do Twitch streaming, this is what I do. I can do however many, but look, But in reality, I wouldn't say that I'm making the stats that they put on that page by any stretch of the imagination, but here I am.
Yeah, they let.
Now it may be possible they're using the same stats for the other game that I may not get in that program. I don't know.
Yeah, they're
It's very
really
I don't
open
dynamic.
know.
to who they
I
let in.
don't know if this is public knowledge or not, but us as DDO content creators, we don't need to hit those requirements. Though those requirements are for content creators who are established brand emperor, like from outside trying to get, like, hey, I want to play DDO. Let's see if they have something for me and my 10 million people. Oh, I can sign up for this and do like a little deal with them. Because like Cordovan said, he's like, yeah, that's really just for like when we do like cross deals with, big
Like professional streamers
Kaisenet.
versus
Yeah.
as opposed to like, DDO players who happen to stream.
No, but we are professional, but we are already doing this market thing. They're like, okay, we'll let you in because you're already doing what we want. But for someone else to come, from like another game or something or another that like, hey, you want to do a deal with us? You're already kind of famous. You're gonna bring tens of thousands, maybe even 1 million people looking at our game. We can work out a deal with you, right? But those requirements definitely like for content creators who do DDO and DDO only or DDO majority, you should not let those requirements deter you. DDO does need and want to work with you.
Yeah, and that's
You may
really
not
the
have
thing
gotten in the
is,
first wave, but you will get in the second or third.
No, I have
yeah,
heard.
because
I
the
have heard.
criteria on the page are very different.
I've had some people tell me that they didn't get in, but for the most part, I mean, from what I've seen, they've let, if you're doing content, even if you're not getting like that many viewers, I think they're open to get you in the program if you want to get in.
Yeah, my initial thoughts were when I read the requirements, I'm like, I am never going to qualify.
Same
Like
here.
I
Yeah.
don't
Oh, I was the
stream
same way.
DDO. I don't not stream DDO enough. I don't put out enough videos. There is no
Like
way.
again, professional. And when I say
Yeah.
professional, I don't say professional versus amateur. I'm saying professional as full-time streamer. This is your job. I would say most of us either have day jobs, or in my case, I have two, because streaming does not bring pay the bills. But I'm saying professional is like somebody that they have been able to quit their day job because they are a streamer versus we are DDO players who stream, and they're trying to get people who are streamers who might want to try DDO or bring their 10,000 viewers to come and watch DDO. And they did the one thing at PAX E, or not PAX East, PAX West, where they had Strim Tom bring 3 non DDO people to play a little bit of DDO. They did some prep work, had them do, there's a promotion for Chill Rail. And that worked really, really well because Strim Tom has that kind of personality and can lead folks who have no idea what's going on with DDO. They had pre-made builds for their Lemortia characters. They ran through Korthos. They had a great time. Most
Yeah, it
of
was such a
us,
fun
myself
stream.
included, it was so much
It
fun to
was
watch
great.
because Strim was like the voice in the wilderness, and they were just there on stage, and they had no idea what they were doing, but they were like, "I can break boxes," and they were just went to
Remember
town
the
on them.
beds?
They found their own fun.
I love the
They
bed
found
scene
their
because
own fun.
it made me think of when me and Voodoo did Reaper Life 1. We would do stuff like that. We're like, oh, maybe we should do a scene in here, or maybe we should do this. And like they did it naturally and organically. They found a room full of beds and they're like, let's sleep in them. And I'm like, yes, this is what DDO is. Like this is
They
the
were
funnest you can have in
dungeons
DDO.
in they were Dungeons and Dragons players who brought their fun into DDO. And honestly, it was really fun to watch non-DDO players because let's be honest, a lot of us are cynical old farts. But to see their enthusiasm and their joy, and they found what they enjoyed, and they didn't listened to our cold counsel. They just went ham on it, and Shrimp just kind of like, ooh, there's this door. I wonder what's over here. And he didn't basically tell them, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. He just basically, gave them a little breadcrumb and let them, set the kittens loose in a pile of string.
He also was getting fed time beats by SSG. He had he had an earpiece, and they would tell him like, "Hey, it's time to move on to the next area." Like they
only had a certain amount of time with the pack schedules. Like they were shoving from X time to Y time.
He was so on it though. He did, because like you couldn't tell. Like I had to find out through his live stream. Like he didn't go like, "Oh, what? Hey guys, get off the beds. It's time to go to," like he was like, "Hey, that's fun. You know what's fun? Over here is a fishing pole." And I was like, "Yeah, Strim Tom representing."
So yeah, he was like the perfect choice for this. Also because he wasn't actually physically there. So I think if he had been there, it might have been a little bit of a different vibe. But having him guide them the way he did was such a good way to introduce the audience who didn't normally play DDO into this game, and I'm hoping they picked up some new players because of it. The one thing that I was honestly very disappointed in our community about was everybody in chat complaining about the lag.
I think was this during the time right during the transfers? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was
kind of understandable.
Really odd time to do it. Yeah.
But there's always a time and a place, and when they're trying to do something to get more people to play the game, the worst thing you can do is roll in and be a jerk. And
yeah, you got to be a good car salesman.
Mm-hmm. It just to basically use that opportunity as I'm going to complain about the game in front of a major studio audience. It was basically so disrespectful. He's like, you want to do that? Come to my live stream and complain about the game, and I'll just kick you out of my channel. But if you come to DDO stream, I'll be like, yeah, no, we're not having that conversation. But there were times and places we don't want to drive people away when we have this out of. See, we can preach to the choir all we want, like I'm preaching to the choir right now. But when we're in a place where we're trying to get more butts in seats, we don't want to. And it's not to say you can't criticize a few things, but I think we as the general community went beyond the pale in that we should try to get these people to come play with us. That's what we want. We want more people to play. Yes, it's good. But we know that they were going to fix the lag. You just had to give them time. It was just bad timing all around. But it was just...
Well, Twitch chat's just going to be like that sometimes. I don't think it's reflective of the community, although the community was understandably very upset at the time because the lag was horrific. I don't know if it lagged on that live stream or not. Hopefully it didn't. I wasn't able to catch it.
It didn't really. They had one spike. They were playing on Cormier, so like it was not really laggy. But I think the community was angry because they just released Chill in the middle where we had a lot of lag. But thinking about it after that, with the event that was planned, they didn't have a chance. The community would fix the lag before you release Chill. But with this event, they had no choice. They had to release Chill before this.
They did have.
Yeah, it was a promotion for Chill.
The thing about it is that they and this is how I knew they were going to fix lag. Every time during that stream that there was an instance of lag, they would jump the camera view to another player who wasn't having lag, and that's how I knew they were going to fix lag. I'm like, if they could figure out how to not show their lag on a stream, they can fix this lag.
And yeah, to their credit, we'll get into this later, but yeah, they did fix the lag. Obviously not. It's never going to be 100% lag free in DDO, but they fixed the major lag issues that we saw. But is there anything else we want to? I think we've kind of covered all this pretty well. The creator program. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we move on? Okay, Leia, let's move on to the big thing. So I think this was the single biggest thing easily this year, which was the 64-bit servers and the transfers. So we got Moonsea, Thrain, and Shadowdale. Coromir already existed, but we had a period where players could transfer from the 32-bit servers to the 64-bit servers, for free. You could choose whichever one you wanted. We have Moonsea, which is a European server. It's in the Netherlands, and the other three are in Las Vegas. And let's see. And so the 32-bit servers, the old ones, they are still up as what are called ghost worlds for anyone listening who doesn't know. But ghost world means that you can log in, you can transfer your character, but you can't play the game, you can't run quests or anything like that. It's just there for 2 years so that players who come back to the game can log in and say, the server is no longer a supported server, so they have the 2-year period to transfer their characters over for free to the 64-bit servers. So we had during this transfer process, there was, as we mentioned just ago, we did have some huge lag problems for a few months after the server transfers, where the game was in a really bad state, but they have fixed that. I mean, the game runs great now. I'm not noticing, any noticeable lag when I run the game now. So they got it under control, but it was rough going there for a little while. But what do you guys think on the server transfers? I'll let you guys talk. I gotta go AFK for just a minute, but I'll let you guys talk on that.
I think this is the single largest thing that we've encountered in DDO in probably the last 10 to 12 years.
Oh, easily.
Right.
Yeah. I agree.
I think it had been a long time coming. I think after the mass exodus from Kenneth and Galanda back in 23, this was something that was going to have to happen. Or you're going to see the player base dwindle even further. I was playing on Kenneth, and it was rough. I play late at night, U.S. time. There might be 30 people on any given night that I would play. So, it would be me, my wife, and we or it'd just be me. We'd run solo. We'd run the two of us. And if I really wanted to do that, I could just go play on Wayfinder. I was looking for more people. So I think that this migration, and I'm going to call it a migration, it's not a merge. This migration did a lot to bolster the game overall. To be honest, I have seen more people streaming the game since the server migration than I had ever seen prior.
Guy?
What's up?
Guys join the streaming community? You a neutral agent?
No, I streamed way
It's been
before
around.
that. I started streaming in like 2020, 2021.
Yeah. I just hadn't seen you that much, so. But
yeah, I started with neutral at the start of last year. Oh, well, this year.
Yeah, that might have been it. Seeing the dual streams. But to Nomad's point, I think yes, it was a rough transition to the new servers. Absolutely, it did not go anywhere near the way Standing Stone wanted. And given what Severlin said at Gen Con, I'm firm in the belief that the August 31st deadline wasn't originally their time frame. My gut instinct here was that they were actually originally planning this out to be maybe even now starting the transfers, and this time of year, or starting the transfers early into next year, or shortly after the anniversary, or something like that. That something changed. He couldn't say what it was. We can infer what he meant, but they were not supposed to be out of town by the end of August. They were only supposed to maybe even be starting the process then. So the fact that they had to rush this through, and to get everything done by the end of August, and in the fact that the other game was also ending their process, to end in August, and they'd started back in like February or something like that. So they had way more time. they also had way more problems, and a lot of the problems they had were things that they could fix for our transfers. Ours actually went a lot smoother than the other game did, in that there were a whole bunch of people who lost access to some of their characters for months because they were stuck or they just could not get a transfer through for any love of money. And we could see that the transfer service was having some issues recently, the other day, and it's still not where they would ever want it to be. It definitely was a lot less smooth than the 2015 transfers the other game had, but in general terms, in terms of the game being healthier now, absolutely. The fact that we'll talk about the current event here in a little bit, but the fact that we have 4 servers, the fact that there's a European-based server, not just like, oh, the Europeans playing this server, an actual server in Europe, so the Europeans and folks on that side of the planet have a server that they got way better ping times. Right now, the only problem for them is, for the folks who might be stuck on Cormier, because they wanted to play on a 64-bit server to try to get beyond some of the 32-bit limitations that latency can cause.
Yeah, and we still don't have the 64 to 64 bits transfers, but that should be coming, I would think, soon. But
Next
yeah,
year.
that was huge, the European server for European players. And they weren't sure they were going to do that at first. I remember several in before the transfers talking on live streams saying that we're not sure if we can do it because I mean, he didn't say this exactly, but I think the implication was that financially they didn't know if they had, if it made sense, but they did it. So kudos to them. And
the reason they knew is because they had already started it on the other side. So that's why all of the EU servers for Standing Stone are in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, is because they had launched an EU-based server over there, and it was immensely popular. And then when they did their 64-bit servers, they launched with 2 and then eventually had to add a 3rd. And in fact, their biggest, sweatiest server is the one in the EU, where all the raiders went. And that's the one that's, they're having the biggest trouble with, is this is how they know how much capacity these servers have, which is why Severlin finally got his mega servers in DDO.
Yeah.
He was talking about that in 2020 at the Adventure Pub, at the Adventure Tavern. Sadly, rip, that did not survive COVID.
Yeah.
And
this is the biggest thing that I've wanted from the game for years was some kind of consolidation, because we had 7 servers before, 8 servers, something like that, and it was just way too many servers for the player base. So logging in every day on Shadowdale and seeing all the LFMs compared to what it was on Thelanis.
I'm on the same server as Axel.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. Is that
it's just
for streamer it was great. It was like, oh, the bunch of streamer that can do co-op and stuff, and
because for most people,
yeah, Voodoo might help me get my winter cloak.
It doesn't matter how good the game is if you don't have people to play it with. This kind of game you really want to play with. I mean, there's people who solo only, but for this game, you really want to play with other people, and particularly for people in weird time zones, that would not weird, but by weird I just mean not typical where the major population is, who are outside of, say, prime time. It was huge, because I've heard from players who they're in Europe or Australia, whatever, where during their prime time they didn't have players to play with, but they do now, and there's even a European server.
And Moonsea is killing it during EU prime time. Moonsea is even more active than any of the US-based servers, because that's their evening.
Yeah, Vinny says the downside is Wayfinder players are feeling cramped. Yes, this is true. This is true.
Cormier is the new Wayfinder. Let's be honest. Cormier is the new Wayfinder.
Still, I mean, its population compared to, I mean, small now is not what small was. The 30-bit servers at least.
So,
now that's one thing.
I think we can...
I wanted to get into that next. Actually, Drew's Fire. I wanted to. So when they did the transfers, instead of like saying, okay, Sarlona and Wayfinder are going to Shadowdale, they let everyone pick wherever they wanted to go. Which at first I was like, how is this gonna work if everyone picks the same server? Like, what are they gonna do if that happens? But it seems like it worked out pretty well. so Shadowdale and Thrain are the biggest servers, but they're
Well-
fairly even. And then Cormyr is a little bit less populated. I think Moonsea is somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure. I haven't
People
looked
were
at Moonsea's
going to
population.
train first until they changed the name. I don't forget
Well,
the
no,
name.
it was
what
it was
doing.
Shadowdale.
Auric.
It was
It's
Auric,
Auric.
as in the
Auric.
vacuum. Yeah,
Nobody
no.
liked Auric, so everybody was going to Thrain.
It was so
And
funny.
then
I
they
saw
changed it
so
to
many.
Shadowdale, and
I saw so
oh
many
my God.
Auric vacuum cleaner memes, and it was great. But yeah, people didn't like Auric because it was just I get the respect the where it came from, but it's hard to say. It's kind of a mouthful. So Shadowdale,
It's not even a mouthful. It's people just didn't. It didn't land.
it didn't. It's not as cool sounding as Shadowdale. I
Funny
don't
how
think.
just one name change just changed everything.
Yeah, Shadowdale changed everything, and you saw it from players. I know it sounds silly, like personally, I didn't care what server I was on in terms of what it's called. I just wanted to go where I mean, you can call it server A, server B, server C, server D. I don't care. Like I just want to play wherever my guildies and friends and Twitch viewers are playing. But a lot of people do care.
In
They want to
terms
go
of
to a
the
server that
names,
sounds cool.
In terms of the server name, just the words themselves, working for a professor who spends 5 years going over Lord of the Rings in excruciating detail, you have no idea, Axel. That for me, Moonsea was my favorite name out of the lot, out of any of them, and of course it's like, gosh, what is the BDU server? But I still have characters there, and I'll still play there. And for me, being in Eastern U.S., the latency to the Netherlands is not much different than the latency to Las Vegas, so I could play on it, it doesn't matter. So it is so, it's so good. And also, one thing that we don't have that the other game has a big problem with is because of how the game was created. We can switch between the EU server, transfer to EU server and off the EU server, and nobody cares. Over in Lotro, you can't do that because of a whole thing about how their EU servers originated from a different company called Codemasters. And when they decided to copy all the database IDs, it was so weird. So at least we don't have to deal with that.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Nomad.
I'm extremely happy because I actually have people to play with in my time zone. I mean, I last night I got raided by Druid's Fire and Waisukai as they're signing off for the evening, and I already know it's.
I got raided by
late
Voodoo. That was so
and
cool.
I already know that it was late for them because it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock my time. But going from a wasteland of hardly anybody playing to now I can play, late in the evenings my time and still be able to fill our 10, 6-person groups and, have people who are competent doing it is amazing. And, it's a whole different world than what I was experiencing, this time last year.
A whole new world.
Yeah, that's great. Well, anything else you guys want to say on the transfers before we move on? All right. Well, let's talk.
One final thing is the fact that the transfers allowed, and the Cormyr also had the same thing, allowed people to claim names that have been sitting around unused since 2006.
Oh, yes.
All these really cool names that nobody has been using, and nobody's coming back for that name. Standing Stone, it's been 20 years that we had this really cool common name.
Oh, yeah, that's a good...
And so I have a whole slate of cool names that nobody has been using.
There was a lot of drama
I'm
over
finally
the names.
Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Nice.
you?
Yeah, there was
Another
some
thing is-
drama because it was first come first serve on names, so some people didn't get their
Oh my
names
God,
and were
yes.
really upset. I know at least one content creator who's really upset he didn't get his name. So it is what it is. I mean, I know in some cases SSG intervened if it was like very deliberate and you could prove that, but in most cases it was just first come first serve. But
Some people went all
Benny
in.
also reminds us of all the goodies they gave
So
us.
I was fortunate. I did get Axel on every server, AXEL. So if you see that character, that's me.
The people
I
went
am-
all
I
in
am
and
Phoenix
created
on-
dash numbers off the roof.
Yep.
I managed to snag Phoenix on the 3 new ones. I didn't get it on Cormyr because there was some drama when Cormyr originally launched, and that I should have been able to get access. And this is why they didn't do a special VIP registration, like, oh, you can do this a day, because they found out that they can't lock non-VIP accounts out from character creation. Only prevent them from logging in.
Vinny brought up a really good point. I don't think I kind of mentioned it earlier, but as part of the
I did try to
transfers.
mention that.
Okay, we did talk about it. Okay.
Goodies.
The new, they gave out like 100 free for limited time. You can't get it anymore, but they gave out 100 free shared account spaces. They gave out character bank slots. They gave out a bunch of free coupons for stuff like pet renames and things like that. So anytime, if you had a conflict.
Surname renames.
Yeah, they gave out surname renames. And if you had a conflict with someone and it added a -1 to your character's name on transfer, you could get you had a free rename, but it's always worked that way.
Well, that's not something they brought in new for that program, though.
Right. That's already
-1
existed.
getting a free rename that's always that's
but yeah, the hopefully everyone got the 100 shared account spaces. That was a humongous, like, that has made TRing so much easier, along with the character bank spaces. Oh my god, no more. I'm not having to do any more gear shuffling. I mostly just can take everything right out of cash.
We do have to mention the fact that there was the whole TR thing is like, oh, you need to clear out your TR cache for real. We mean it.
Oh, and Vinny also said
super duper rough.
Yeah, Vinny also says already in Favorite Soul included free quest code, 32-point builds. Yeah, the free quest code. Was that around this time? Because we could talk about that briefly. But go ahead.
Gather Your Party 2025.
Yep. I think that was
another
around this time.
that somebody found and they had to turn off real quick.
Yeah. It was basically the same one as Lotro.
So
yeah,
it was the Lotro code, and for some reason it worked in DDO.
So
so that's why we got the Gather Your Party code instead.
Yes, for anyone listening,
I used the one.
If you have not used it, this is good until the end of 2025. You might even try it. I don't know. Sometimes SSG lets these things linger early January, but Gather Your Party 2025, all caps in the store, will unlock a huge amount of content, like basically all the adventure packs except the newest one for free, along with some other things. So make sure you claim that if you haven't, because they don't do that
Artificer,
promotion very often.
Warforged, Favorite Soul, 32-point build. So the 32-point build one is massive.
Oh,
and asterisk there, it doesn't work on Drow because Drow.
Was I the only one of us that was kind of like hoping someone steal their name so they can take this chance to rebrand themselves?
Oh, I don't.
Did anyone thought of that?
Nah.
Because I wouldn't mind, like everyone was like, oh, they better not take my name. I'm like, oh, if they do, maybe I can be like Bob Vila of DDO. Welcome to Bob Vila DDO show.
No, you need to be Norm Abrams, man.
Welcome to Emerald DDO Live. No,
I am seeing a lot of really fun names out there. Somebody got the name Judas on Shadowdale, and their surname is Priest. So
nice.
I knew you would appreciate that, Nimbun.
All right, let's move on, guys, to the.
Of course, Strack as well.
Let's move on to the next thing. Volcanic Patron's Coffer we got in September 2025. So this was a fire-themed coffer. I saw a lot of people calling it the Sauron coffer because the helmet it kind of looks like Sauron from the Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson movies. So that was my first thought as well.
Yeah, or you could think of Sauron in Lord of the Rings Online, because there's a couple places you can actually see him in flashback.
This and the newest coffer has some features in certain helms that screams a little Lord of the Rings feely to me.
For sure.
I don't know what a newest
one. And to be fair,
for me
the art team is shared between the two games.
Just the helmet and the new one.
The latest one for me, when I saw it, was like, this is Skyrim.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. That was everybody's thought, I think.
I'm thinking Wrath of the Lich King. I'm totally thinking Wrath of the Rykul from the Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else in the coffer, but yeah, just like all the coffers, same thing, just the cosmetics are different, but you get shared account space, character bank space, just like every coffer, just different cosmetics and pets and mounts. I like the mount a lot. I've been using the mount from this one.
I'm gonna lodge
I don't
my
like the mount.
complaint.
They should give us a winter wolf mount with the red nose and the antlers from a
Mm-hmm.
festival.
My one complaint is this was the second Great Axe cosmetic that we got after the mechanized warrior coffer. And we'll talk more about.
Wasn't it a great axe in the volcanic, right?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
our third.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well,
it's,
no, this
we
is-
got a third one now.
Oh, we have a third one now.
Yeah,
But
when
this
they
was
do
the
it-
second one.
When they do a two-hander, why is it always a
They need to
great
do a
sword or a
bow
great
one.
axe? Can we get a maul or a great club or something, please?
Ooh,
Quarterstaff. Now.
A spatula.
Well, I mean, the thing is, with the great axe
Spatula
cosmetic, you can
quarterstaff?
only use it on great axes, right? You can't use it with any of the other two-handers
I think you can.
because
Can
they
you not?
have different animations.
Mm.
Mhm.
It's because they have different animations. So you could only use the great axe cosmetic with great axes, right? Great sword, you can use great sword with anything like the falchion or a maul or anything else that has that standard two-handed fighting cosmetic or animation. The animation is different for great axe, and that's why you can only use that cosmetic with great axes. And that's
I
my
want a
complaint.
ginormous maul
Yes. Oh,
with a
going back
huge
to the
mallet
anniversary.
on the end.
One thing I've wanted forever is the broccoli basher from the anniversary event. We would need a two-hander version of that, please. Anything else in the coffer, y'all? Yeah, not too much to say, just different cosmetics. The last thing, I think it was during this time we had I didn't put this on the show notes, but I just thought of it now. We had the meetup in Indianapolis for Gen Con
Gen Con.
around this time. So I did hang out with Druid's Fire and Drac in person. So we hung out in Indy, and I got to chat. I think a lot of us, anyone who was there,
Got to meet so many.
we got to meet tons of people. I met Voodoo, I met Jabberwocky, a lot of different community people. I got to chat with Tolero and Severlin and Cordovan a lot in person. So that was cool. I hadn't been to a meetup since 2018. So I was going to go to the one in Boston in 2023, but the week it occurred was also the week my sister baby was due. My niece was going to be born. I didn't want to miss that, so couldn't go to that one. So yeah, it was fun.
You missed out.
I know. I hate I couldn't have gone, but
one thing.
bad timing.
Yeah. One thing that did come out of Gen Con is something to look forward to for next year. Severlin was getting really excited about this for the Lotro side, and it was recently tested publicly on Lotro side, UI scaling. So they were explicitly looking at on the Lotro side, and he was getting really excited.
That's good news.
But then, yeah,
Yep.
but Tolero was very cautious about it because she said there are several UI elements that DDO has that's not the same as Lotro. But if you want to get an idea of where they went with that, there's definitely some videos about that. There's some massively in MMORPG articles about it. What they did is instead of redoing all of the artwork so it is scaled cleanly, it's like you click a button and the actual art just upres. It doesn't upres. It just basically gets a little bigger. So it's kind of like if you do Control Scroll Wheel on Windows, it makes your window bigger, but it doesn't change the art. So it's kind of like taking an image that's like 100 pixels by 100 pixels, and then suddenly you get all the jagged edges because you are now showing it at 400 pixels by 400 pixels, but it was never created that way. So it's not as awesome as we want it to be, but as a first step for being able to play on ginormous TVs, it's actually going to be really nice.
Is it illegal for them just to hire someone on Fiverr to do new art for them?
Well, you'd have to look at their agreement with
Actually,
WotC. I don't
Severlin
know.
once talked about this. One of the times I interviewed him back in the day, he had mentioned that they had originally, because this was talking about the other game basically getting a massive graphics overhaul, and they'd hired some outside company to do it, but he didn't like the work they were doing, so he fired them. I'm like, quality, man.
Was there anything else?
I appreciate the fact that he's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was just going to say, is there anything else in the meetup that you all some of you all like Drac. I think you were there. You got to talk to some developers. And for anyone who doesn't know, by the way, I forgot to explain this, but there's usually a meetup every year. So if you ever want to, anyone listening ever wants to meet the DDO or Lotro devs, they usually do a meetup once a year. It's usually either at Gen Con in Indianapolis or in Boston.
Or they do both like this year.
Or they do both, yeah. And you can also sometimes catch them in, say, like PAX East. I don't know how many go there, but PAX East or PAX West?
PAX East is the big one, actually.
Is it PAX West they do as well? I'm not sure. I think
No.
they don't go there. Okay.
They rarely do PAX West.
Okay. I was thinking they maybe did it one
Because
year,
basically,
but it's in
PAX East
California.
is low-hanging. Yeah,
Yeah.
PAX East is easy for them because they can drive to it.
Yeah, it's in
Gen
Boston.
Con is because DDO, they're D&D nerds, and generally they can get Daybreak to foot the bill for that. They did send a few devs over to Germany to Gamescom for Locho a couple years back. I'm not sure why, but I will tell you, 5 minutes out of the airport, Cordova went to a retro store because nerd. But it was a lot of fun. But in general, they go to the ones that they're willing to either drive to or that Daybreak is going to spend money to send because they can't afford to go themselves.
Yeah. Okay. So anything else? I had some cool conversations with Tolero and Seb for sure. It was nice. It was nice meeting them. Or actually, I already met them, but it was nice talking to them again in person. But all right, let's move on. Unless you all have anything else you want to say on this one, I want to move to update 76. So we're getting now into new stuff. So this is stuff we haven't covered in previous podcasts. So update 76 was released November 19th, 2025, and it was Symphony of the Fae. And it basically had two aspects to it. And this is the first one I just thought of. I hadn't put on the show notes. But the first one was major balance changes. So there's a lot of changes to, and let's talk about that first. So there were some major balance changes to a lot of combat feats got buffed. There was buffs to mechanic. There was a big base damage buff to bows and short bows and long bows. Some minor inquisitive nerfs, and we had like quick cutter nerfs. Those minor ones, but those were kind of the highlights. There was tons of other changes, like little changes, but those were kind of the highlights. Do you all see a difference in your characters after the balance changes? Is there any new builds that you're trying now? Like, are you trying mechanic or bow builds now because of those changes, or what do you think of them? Like, why Sakai, you're shaking your head? You still don't like those builds, or
No,
or what?
I don't think quick cutter is still amazing.
Yeah.
Regardless with the cooldown, they still great. Inquisitive lost 15 range power, and
Not a huge deal.
I don't know about the rest.
Yeah, I still think quick cutter is just it's just so good the way DDO is designed to have that AoE DPS. Like, I'm still using quick cutter. I haven't really noticed the cooldown difference. I mean, it's 2 seconds. I do want to get to trying a mechanic because I have an old character from like 10 plus years ago that's been retired as a bank tune forever, who was a drow rogue mechanic, and I want to try him again at some point, probably LR him or something, to try the new mechanic, because there's a lot of exciting things in the mechanic tree now. But yeah, some other big changes, like they really massively buffed cleave, great cleave. Those were really two feats I'm going to look at more closely now. And then stunning blow got a big buff. I know the stunning blow cooldown went down from 15 to 10 seconds, and it also got 4 additional DCs, which I already thought that was I really like that ability for leveling, and I always thought the cooldown was a little bit too long. So I think 10 seconds is pretty much perfect. So that plus the new DCs, I'm very much looking forward to leveling a character with stunning blow in the future, because that feat is so fun. You get the ding.
Do you feel that the finesse weapon dexterity thing that they did with this was also kind of like them bringing the game more close to like 5e?
Are you talking about like the base weapon
They
stat
make it
changes?
so you can just use dex to hit with finessable weapons, and now the instead of light weapons are just like finesse weapons, just like in 5e. You don't need a feat; you could just do dex to hit now, and I guess damage. And so they changed certain enhancements that did that for you prior.
Yeah.
It feels
I
like they're
like it.
5e
I don't know
this
how it
game
compares to
more.
5e really. I don't have a good feel for that, but it's great. I mean, it just adds more flexibility. So yeah, you can be more focused on a single stat now. It's more practical to play certain builds, or you don't have to take a feat to get a certain stat, or go in a universal tree to get certain stat for it to hit and damage. So I think it's great, great.
Yeah, Nimvind, I think more than likely they probably are heading that direction, because as time has gone by, I mean, you talk about 3.5 is what, 20 years old now, 20 plus years old now. And, as game design has changed and how people interact with games has changed, it becomes more intuitive. My experience with 5e has been that it's not as number crunchy, right, as 3.5 would have been. And so making it where people have access to things without having to figure out, okay, how many points do I need to spend in this tree to get this ability? I'm going to spend 7 points to get charisma to hit and damage and Fate Arc Illusionist versus, where can I put this stuff? It makes sense to kind of move that way. And who knows, WotC might actually require that as part of, as they move forward with their content involving D&D. They might say, okay, you have to start moving more towards what we currently have rather than what we had in the past. That's what I am speculating, but it makes sense.
I don't know, I've been seeing it slowly creep in, because we got like second wins from Fighter. We're starting to, and to be honest, and I just watched an episode of Daddy Rolled a One, which, if you guys hadn't, is a great D&D historian YouTuber, where he was actually comparing first edition to basic D&D, and he's like, there's actually a lot of similarities here. And so it kind of got me interested in looking into that. And honestly, at first, I was kind of horrified. Even though I'm not a 5e hater, I do believe 3.5 edition is the true advanced D&D, and I fell in love with it because there's so many books and studying that you can do to make a character and to learn the system. But I'm starting to not hate 5e and games that emulate its mechanics. So I'm actually very welcome and looking forward to see them updating more of DDO to a more basic, rudimentary and entry level friendly position.
Yeah, well, we have some people in chat are commenting like Archmage needs buffs, and they mentioned Cleric needs more love. Noob says, yeah, I mean, there's definitely, with this pass, there's definitely some big, I think, big trees and classes and things that they haven't addressed. So I'm completely expecting them early next year to do another balance pass. I mean, there's like, they didn't touch, I won't say what it is, but it rhymes with Baggin Lord, enhancement tree they didn't touch. That I'm like, I can't believe they didn't touch that. But so there's other things that, yeah, there's definitely still classes that need some love. Like, yeah, cleric, I'm biased. It's like my favorite class, but I think Radiant Servant needs some love to catch up with favored souls as healers, something to rival Healing Wall a little bit better. But there's definitely other things that need to be addressed still, and I think it'll happen. And they're always going to do balance passes. It's just a matter of like, when is it going to happen? It's the main thing. But I think they will do one early first quarter next year. That's my prediction. Could be wrong. Any other thoughts on the balance stuff?
You heard it here.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, come here and tell Axel you're wrong.
Yes. And blame me when the Dragon Lord nerfs come. Okay, let's talk about Symphony of the Fae next. So this is the big part of this update, which was the Symphony of the Fae event. So just a brief summary for anyone who doesn't know what this is or hasn't played or whatever. But it's an event. It's a hardcore-like event. So where there's two paths you can take with this event. You can do Summer Court or Winter Court. The way the event works is you go to the gatekeeper's, the hut in the harbor for the gatekeeper's hut there, and you can claim loots. And these are things you equip to your cosmetic shield slot while you quest. And as you quest, there'll be motes. So bits of like, they're little spheres that represent music. And you go to the mote when it appears. It'll appear, you get one per quest, and it's pretty random when they appear, but they'll appear, and you trigger your fiddle that you equip to your cosmetic shield slot, and mobs will spawn. Defeat the mobs and then play your fiddle, and it will build durability to your loot. So your loot start with a low durability, and as you complete these motes in these quests, it'll build the durability. So do a bunch of motes, kill the mobs, and you keep doing that for a while, you'll build durability. And then when your durability of that fiddle fills up, you can turn it in to the NPC there in the hut and get a cosmetic reward. And there's 5 summer and 5 winter with similar rewards with different color variations. So there's a cloak, there's a unicorn mount, there's the big thing people like, there's wings. The winter court ones are blue. The summer court ones are more monarch butterfly styled in that kind of color. The big difference between summer and winter court is that with winter court, it's supposed to emulate the old hardcore seasons as best as they could. So when you're using those loots and you have them equipped and you die, the loot gets destroyed. So it's basically, it's sort of like hardcore, except you don't have the same limitations of the old hardcore seasons. So you can group with anybody. There's no restrictions on that. This event is running on the regular servers. It's not running on a separate server like the old hardcore event was. So yeah, so you all, what do you think of the events? Are you doing summer or winter loot? Are you doing both? Or are there any particular cosmetics that you are excited about, or you like, or is there any that you're disappointed about? What do you think?
I like the event. I said earlier that it was feel like it's nice dot event, but they drop it without announcing like the date, so it was rough.
That was a big problem. SSG, please don't do that again. Like, they just released it and there was no, like, people need to have the ability to plan their play sessions, and by just dropping it like they did with no announcement and no planning, it really killed the hype, and players couldn't do that. And it was, they need to give preferably about a week notice before they drop an event like that. That was not good.
Especially for the folks who do like Shrimp Tom does builds and whatnot. So he likes to drop like, and not only does he plan out like his day one, this is what he's going to do, this is what he's going to play, but he does these builds for the rest of the community, for the hardcore side of things. And he didn't get an opportunity to, he eventually did one, but it kind of took it popped that balloon with a pin. It's like, okay, so all right. So we, as the content creators, lost the opportunity to build some hype, because that's what we like. I love building hype for the game, but we lost out on that, and so we were left flat-footed. And I think they took our feedback on board with that, and I believe they said there was reasons why it didn't happen the way they would have preferred to do it, but ultimately the end result is what is important here, is that we didn't get that chance to make our plans, to announce our plans, to do our pretty good little graphics. Like, I've got a thing going on, and I'm going to be streaming, on Christmas Day, but I had to go find my graphics for it. And, I've started to build hype this week, and, it's a stream that's happening next. So we didn't have that chance, and I think it rubbed a lot of us. I'm going to speak for us. It rubbed me the wrong way. That we knew it was coming, but we didn't know when, and we couldn't really plan around it. And it did us a disservice as content creators, because we are the supporters of the game. We are the folks who bring in a lot of hype. We'll give them crap when it's deserved, like now. But hopefully, anytime they do something similar in the future, they work around the fact that we need to know in advance. It doesn't have to be, again, a week is fine. Longer is better. letting us being able to test it in advance would be nice, actually, if you think about it.
Well,
Maybe
that was the
especially
surprising
Lamania,
thing.
so
I was, it was funny. I was on Drax podcast and we were like, oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, it'll be probably a week, couple weeks before we get this. And then like the next day they just dropped it. And I was surprised. The reason I said that, because they, on Lamania, they previewed the Lantern event. They didn't preview this at all on Lamania. I was like, what, really? That really surprised me. But yeah, I wish SSG in general would be a little more willing to set firm dates. I know they operate on a when it's done when it's done basis, but it's okay to delay things too. It's okay to say, okay, the event's gonna release next week, on Wednesday, a week from now. It's okay. If you got to delay it, that's okay. Just give people notice, give people a date. It'll build hype. Delay is much better than not telling anyone anything and then just dropping it. No one knows. Like, it's just instantly there.
they
Like,
just tweeted
a
it
delay
out.
is better, way better than what we got. Like, if you got to delay it another week, no problem. That's fine. People understand. The work's not done. Something happened in development. No worries. But you got to set more firm dates. I wish, and just that's kind of a criticism in general with SSG. I wish they would just, come on, set more firm dates, please. It builds hype.
This is
It
our
lets us
tentative-
advertise the game. It lets people get excited and want to join in. And they have a date. They know the thing's going to drop. Like, oh, the new adventure pack is going to drop next Wednesday. Oh, let's plan to play that day. But okay, I'll stop ranting.
I know there's the notion of, well, if they have to delay, then they have to deal with people being upset about it, and but I think on some level they need to stop being afraid of what Massively is going to say about it, or MMORPG, or any of the game press, because quite frankly, we would prefer to know and then see a delay versus something coming out of the blue. Not to say that keeping some things under, keep some things back to keep the surprise going is I'm thinking in terms of like Lotro's Epic Quest line. Nobody tests that before it goes live. That's just the way they roll. And I like that versus World of Warcraft, where, well, they haven't even launched anything for their new expansion. We already know the entire damn story. I hate that.
Well, and some of the other thing I want to add to about this event is they had the guide, but even on release day, no one knew like what loot was for what, and we kind of had to figure that out. Like, that should have been released in the guide beforehand. People need to know. I understand they want some things for players to figure out, but but the thing that players need to figure out can't be what loot gets you what thing you want. I mean, that's got to be players got to be able to plan for and know what loot, know what the rewards are and what loot does what. But yeah, well, Nomad, what do you think of the event? Try to get some other people in the conversation here.
Yeah, so here's my thoughts. The big thing that I like about this event is the fact that they are iterating on previous events that they've done. Right? Because if you look at this event specifically, yes, it's very similar to the Lanterns event that we had. And you have the thing, you equip it, you interact with this thing, and then you do whatever. But then they added other things in that were iterations on other events, like the Illithid Invasion. Illithid Invasion, we had to go into quests and discover where the Illithids were. This, we had to go into quests and figure out where the golden motes were located. Right? So they're using these things that they've already done and are figuring out how to put this all together to make it interesting. All of the golden mote interactions that I've had have been fun. Doing Wrath of the Earth and trying to figure out how to make that work was like, okay, why is this person not dying? So no spoilers in case people haven't encountered it yet. But having that additional things that they put in, like brand new quest areas that, they didn't have to do, but they did. And they made it interesting and interactive. It's interesting. It's like when I did my interview with Tolero on Night Revels, like last year, she said that a lot of these events are based on the technology that they got when they introduced Reapers to the game, which I think is partially why we have these 10 kill requirements before we get something to spawn. So using all of this has made it where I find it really interesting. I do agree. I wish I had more notice. because I didn't come up with my crazy idea that I'm doing on DDO stream until well after, you know, to make it even a little bit more hardcore. Like, I think that's the one big thing. I do like, I think Vinny mentioned it in chat. I really do miss the original hardcore seasons. I would love to see them just do one more, so we have hardcore season 10, so we can end it on an even number, because 9 is just kind of messing with my OCD. But I would really like to see him just do one more and just make it one good blowout and call it good. Because this is going to be what we're going to be doing from now on. It's going to be these types of events, so this way you're not splitting the server populations and everything. So, but that's kind of my take on this event. I'm having fun. The Potion of Wonder run last week was super fun because I don't know what was going to happen.
I'm personally.
I just want to say real quick, because I like the event in that it's a fun event. I don't really see it, like when I look at it, I don't see it at all as a hardcore event, really. In that, granted, I'm not done much winter, really any winter, but yeah, it's a fun event. I like the event. It's just not. I know what SSG's trying to do here. They're trying to meet us in the middle here with the section of the player base that wants a hardcore experience, but they don't want to split the player base. But I don't know if it's ever really going to work, because so many players, you're never going to be able to replicate that experience without splitting the player base, unfortunately. So I think maybe a solution, maybe it's something they consider, is doing original hardcore seasons again, but maybe doing them as shorter seasons. Maybe they only last a month, and then they scale the progression requirements, the rewards, to fit that time frame. That way it wouldn't split players as much. I also wonder if they're more willing to do that now that we have the consolidated servers. It's not going to be as big of a deal if the servers lose players. I mean, it will be noticed, obviously, but it won't be as big of a deal as it was on the old 32-bit servers, when you really could tell when hardcore was going on with grouping. So maybe that's a solution they could consider. Maybe do it once a year, twice a year. I don't know. But I want to see the old hardcore come back.
I'm kind of yay or nay on it, honestly. I mean, I played all of the previous hardcore seasons. I got what I wanted out of it. In general, I'm actually enjoying this event a little bit more because I am not having to do a favor grind. I can skip whichever quests I want to do, or I don't want to do. So you don't have to do Prove Your Worth. You don't have to do Stealthy Repo. You don't have to do all these quests. So part of the hardcore experience was the fact that it was tied to favor so much. Other than the one that it's like, you get to level 20, you get this. But beyond that, the only way they're going to replicate the hardcore experience that people want is a separate server for a period of time, because I don't know if they have the technical capability to force a true hardcore experience on the existing servers, because we know people are running their winter characters with a full party of R10 people who are running their mains on 5 billion past lives. We know they're doing that. We know people got their winter cloak on day one because they have the party that can do that. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect my experience. But the people who want that hardcore, no gear, start from the ground zero, you have to invest on this server specifically, they're never going to get that. But I agree with the folks that now that we've got the population on fewer servers, I think they're going to see less of a hit all around. I think it will work better. And I agree that we should have a final hardcore season 10 just to cap it off. And it's because, X marks the spot, blah, blah, blah. It's a nice round number.
And I also liked how the old ones, being based on favor, it incentivized what I think is a more fun play style. Was you had to do a variety of quests. With this event, what a lot of people are doing, because that's what the most efficient thing to do is you farm. You farm for moats.
Yep.
You run whatever. I mean, House Dunrabar or Haverdash or whatever short quest is at your level, and just do that over and over and over again. I would love to see them in the future try to disincentivize that. I don't know what they could do. Could they make it one per quest, like per life? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
Something
Yeah,
like
it would
that.
be,
That
a
so you
waste.
couldn't just farm, and then scale the rewards, the durability amounts to the rewards to make sense for that. But maybe one per moat
make
per
it
one
like
moat
the
per quest per
moat.
life, something like that. I don't know. Something that got the
data
farming out of
footprint,
there.
I think the data footprint, if they, for example, attach it, kind of like the golden moats, have the little feature on them. Once you do the golden moat, it says you've got the golden moat for this thing. By the way, please make those pieces of music BTA.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Yeah.
design. So anyone who doesn't know, if you do
Yeah,
the golden moats
that
that
was
are
not fun.
hidden, you get the little. The reward is basically a piece of music that you can play, in the game whenever you want, and that's really cool. But it is bound to character. So yeah,
Yeah. The thing I like about the current event that I did not like about the OG hardcores is the fact that I can pick whichever quests I want to do. And yeah, it's gonna allow the farming. On the other hand, I found it less fun and way more stressful to know that I had to do all these quests that I wasn't good at or I wasn't competent in doing, without dying. So those are a thing.
I feel the leaderboard is. I don't know why we have a leaderboard
Yeah,
for
it's-
this event.
The leaderboard is
it's
nonsensical.
pointless.
It's yeah.
And I will say for the leaderboard,
Yeah.
you could be carried in the old hardcore seasons for sure. And they tried to do something with the hounds. I think they tried to get rid of piking, but you still, but on the old hardcore season, somebody had to take a risk. It wasn't like now where you can just run with people who aren't doing winter loot, so you don't take any risk. At least with the old hardcore server, somebody was taking a risk, even if you had pikers in your party. So it was more authentic.
Even the favor leaderboard, if you're well over level, you could still go back and run the quests. There's no lockout on the quests like there was with hardcore, where you could only run that quest, whatever it was, +2 or +3, right? You can go back on your winter loot tune and run like level 3 stuff at level 25, just for the favor, if you wanted to do that.
All right. Any other thoughts on the event before we move on to the next update? Okay. Update 77 was released on December 10th. So just 10 days ago, as of when we're recording this. It was Presence in Pain. So we got a new free-to-play quest called Body and Mind, which you enter that through House Jurasco. It's right next to the entrance for Lamortia, or just across from the Mists of Ravenloft or Into the Mist quest entrance. So have you all run the new quest? Any thoughts?
Yep.
It's fine. It's a quest. I mean, it's nothing pretty basic. There's an electric floor at the end that you need to avoid by staying on a table.
It give you mats,
I-
but you can't use it if you don't have the expansion.
Well, what do you mean? Like the sun and moon's augments?
No,
You
I'm
can't
pretty
get
sure
to
it
the
give.
crafting.
Yeah, you
Oh, it
can't
gives you
craft it.
Victron. Oh, yeah. I didn't really. Yeah, you're right. I didn't thought about that. If it does drop ingredients, that is odd. Because I was kind of surprised because
It's working as intended.
I'm not sure. New free to play quest is great. I'm not really sure. Usually when they do a free to play quest though, it has a purpose. Like usually it's a kind of an advertisement for an expansion. So I would have expected this to come out before Lamortia release, not after, as a way to kind of advertise the expansion. So I was like, okay, it's great. We got a free to play quest. I just don't understand, why they chose to do it. It's great, but I'm not really sure why.
It brings back the.
I did
always...
a blind on my hardcore character.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
risky.
cool. But it brings back. They should
I read
have
it hard.
wilderness be free and then doing the quests.
Yeah, at least some of the older expansions, I wish they would make some of the wildernesses free. I always thought they should do like a new adventure pack in the Underdark in over there in Evening Star, because it has room, and make that free to play. But yeah, but it's yeah, it's free to play quest. I don't. There's really not much to say. I did a YouTube video on it recently, but that's it. Let's see. Okay, so we got Festival released again for 2025. Nothing too much to say there. They mixed up the cookies as they always do. I did find out on
As long as they
this.
didn't mess up the Rizia cookie.
I assume the Rizia cookie is the same. I hope. I did ask them. I was in Discord. I'm like, come on, guys, let's make that Rizia cookie 5 minutes instead of 1 minute. It's too short. I want to be a snowman for a whole raid, please. Party of 12
I want my
snowmen.
jump
I'm
kicks
just
back.
saying, unyielding Sentinel with that cookie is amazing.
See,
Bigger cookie.
oh yeah,
Giant
they also
snowman.
released. By the way, they also released bigger cookie jars finally. So they're selling what a gargantuan cookie jar, I think it's called, and there was one other one.
Need one.
But you can get a bigger cookie
And
jar
they're still
now.
bound to character.
Yeah, I think they are bound to character because of I think server performance reasons. They don't want all that stuff going into the shared bank. That's my assumption. I think I heard that somewhere, but yeah, that would be nice if there was a way to get them over. At least if you could empty them and then transfer them. Oh well. Any other thoughts on Festival? Drac, you got anything? Do you like this event?
No, I mean, the Festival event.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I always like Festival. It's just something fun. I mean, it's not like, it's different than Night Rebels because you're not really doing anything out of the ordinary. I mean, you're just running your quest and you're getting stuff in your normal quest. So, and then the cookies are always fun. And there's as we mentioned a couple. There's some really good cookies you can get. So, I always enjoy Festival. It's just something fun.
Yeah, it's something to collect, and yeah, it's fine.
I wish they bring back the ice at least.
What do you mean? The eyes?
Like, yeah, the ice rink in
Oh, the
in
ice.
Evening Star.
Oh, the ice
Winter
rinks, yeah.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
well,
cool.
And at
bring
least
those
let it
back to
snow in the
something.
harbor. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Well, we'll be getting Snow Peaks. I think Snow Peaks was originally the replacement for that, but we'll get Snow Peaks in a month or so. Usually do that in January-ish. Late January, I
hope
think.
they give us a couple of new rewards for Snow Peaks. I got everything.
Yeah.
And
And
I
a new
literally used the Immortal Sun Flask on my Summer Loot character because the Duke in the one moat quest, the golden one, the members only moat quest, was stuck way up there, and I am on a melee character, so that took 5 minutes.
Barb in chat
The
says,
Immortal...
sorry, so Barb in chat says make the twigs stack. Yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah.
yes.
It's
I mean, they're still
right?
selling the ice skate, and
Yeah, they are.
And then this is Snow Peaks, but there was the what is it? One of the elemental the ice elemental summon from Snow Peaks. I remember a couple years ago I made the massive mistake of I just said like 100 of them, or I just wanted to get rid of my ingredients, so I claimed all of them, and then I didn't realize they didn't stack until 10, and I had a whole inventory full of those things. That was not fun. Okay. Well, anything else on Festival? I mean, we can get down to they did some adjustments to Symphony of the Fae during this update.
Oh, I gotta mention a complaint I have with Symphony of the Fae. I neglected. I mentioned it in Twitch chat.
Okay. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
would like them to make an adjustment to where you get the little Symphony logo overlay, but have it color coded to the normal overlay of the normal thing of the icon, because named loot. I hate the fact that I have to actually look at every piece of loot to see is it named or not. Versus, if they made the Symphony icon, make it blue for a named piece, make it red for a legendary piece, or make it, rainbow colored for a Fey Twisted. But make it so it's the same color as the name, as the OG icon frame.
Yeah, I didn't explain that for listeners, but as part of the Symphony of the Fae event this time, they made it so you had to use only, the intention was you could only use loot that you get during the event. So every piece of loot you picked up on a character with the loot got a special buff. Well, not a buff, but a special trait that made it so you could only use that on the like winter loot characters. There are some exceptions to that, but that's generally how it is. But what Drew's was talking about is it also added a border on the items that made it difficult to see what is what otherwise because it overrode it. Okay. Well, anything
Yeah,
else?
it's just like a green.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say on that? Oh, we have the adjustments. So during this update 77, they added adjustments to Symphony of the Faith. So they addressed some bugs, and they also tried to address some concerns like giving better notification. That's one of the big feedback from players is they would be playing a quest and they wouldn't have any indication that emotes spawn. It would just appear behind them. But this they tried to add, and there's mixed opinions on whether they actually accomplished this, but they tried to add some more indicators. I think there's a text pop-up now, and there's supposed to be a sound, but I have trouble hearing it. But they tried to address that.
It's better than it was, honestly. Getting the message is nice to have, but it only is for the person who the moat spawns on. It doesn't notify everybody with a text message, right? And there is, I'm pretty sure. I don't think anyone else sees it except the person who it spawns on. And then there is a sound which is much more noticeable than initially. So I've missed fewer moats because of that. So I'm happy that they changed it. I complained about that quite a bit.
And also
on
they
my
fixed a lot
streams.
of the bugs. Like where the moat wouldn't activate correctly because of line of sight issues, or your hireling was sitting on it, or it was on an incline. I have not had a single bugged emote or bugged moat since then.
So
neither.
Yeah, so I have noticed something. We had a moat spawn in like a doorway, and then that player moved, and the moat moved with that player. Like
Yeah,
I literally watched. It was on my stream last night. You can actually see the moat move from one location to another. But then we've also seen reports of really weird things where multiple moats have shown up.
There's
Troy
a very
had
good clip. There's a very amazing clip of
Troy's clip is insane. If you guys haven't seen Tavern Tales clip, there's like 10 moats, give or take, in that room. It was nutty, and so I don't know if that is part of, did they fix it so if something is too close to something that it collides with, that they move it to another location, and then maybe that is causing these multiple modes showing up. I don't know, but it's one of those weird things that didn't start really until after the update.
I put the I got somebody posted the clip in my chat, so I'll put it in your chat. It's amazing.
Nice. I'll check that out in a bit. That's funny. I did see a screenshot, and not just Troy, but also I saw some other people run into the same thing where they caught, clearly a bug. So okay, well, anything else? On I think update 76. I think we can go on though to, or I'm sorry, update 77. Oh, we have a couple more things. I'm sorry. We have the next thing. We have the Patron's Coffer. So the third coffer this year. We got in December, we got the Patron's Coffer of the North Wind, which, as we mentioned before, it's a barbarian themed coffer. The helmet's very, very Skyrim-ish, which was like everyone's first thought. Call it the Skyrim coffer. But what do y'all think about this one? Same deal as the other ones. You get character bank space, shared account bank space, and a variety of cosmetics in a mount. I like the wolf.
I really liked the way this one looked. There is a couple issues, just aesthetically. At least I noticed on the left shoulder of the wolf, when it's standing still, the little spiked plate that's on that shoulder is fine. Or no, it clips in when you're standing still, but when you move, it looks, it looks fine, but it clips in when you're just standing still. The other thing is that you have that same symbol right over like the stomach with this spike sticking up. Just for me, from a I know it's a freaking fantasy game, but from a practicality standpoint, having a spiked metal object right next to my my bare stomach, if I'm going to get into battle, just seems like a really bad idea.
Seems like it.
I did a short video and a longer video on YouTube going through this coffer. The longer video goes into something that the cloak, this coffer I really like. And the home I can, but the cloak is so bad compared to the cloaks in the other. Because if you notice, the armor makes the cloak look good, but if you wear the cloak by itself without the armor, it's just a fur rug down. There's no thing that's actually part of the armor, so it's literally just a basic rug. And you know, when you get a coffer, they do put a lot of work in it. The armor is amazing. The armor is the best, and the aura, in my opinion, is the best part of this coffer outside of the storage. But the helm and the cloak and the axe seems so. Oh, the helm is not my taste. The cloak and the axe is so basic. You know what I mean? Like it could just be random gen crud, in my opinion. And I would look at it and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. It's random gen. You know, but
Yeah,
if
I thought
you
the same
turn around
thing.
like, yeah, you can't get this cloak unless you spend like $60 on this. What? That cloak? That I could get a feather version in Korthos. You know, like
True, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I thought the aura, it's like a paler, it does not as bright as say the, like what is it, the like the purple coffer from earlier this year. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah, I thought the aura maybe extended too far off the. I used it on the cosmetic two-hander that was included, and I thought it maybe extended too far off of it, but no, it's fine. You kind of, I think with weapon wars, you gotta find. There's so many available now. You just gotta find the color that matches whatever kind of style
I mean,
you're
I
going
like
for.
I like the new weapon aura
blue.
because it's blue.
Yeah,
It was good.
But I did like the runic designs on it. I think it would look really good on a shield, and the same is true for the weapon auras in Locho. Is they always look way cooler on shields than anything else. But yeah, it's pretty. I'm gonna use it. I'm using it on Terror right now. On one of my characters, I have Terror equipped cosmetically. Actually, no, I have Terror equipped for real and cosmetically. And it looks really, really good with that.
yeah. Rogan
Been using
chat.
Outburst.
Oh, Outburst. Yeah. Oh yeah. How does it look on Outburst?
I can
That's the-
show it actually. Yeah.
If you can show it on your
keep
screen,
going.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll show. Just keep going.
Okay, because so Outburst, that's the electric sword, I think, from Fire of Morgrave. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So Neurofangs or Rogue in chat says the wolf is cool, but I'd like no headgear on it. I saw that feedback from
Thank you.
a lot of people.
That's what I was
Do you think the same
about
thing,
to
Drac?
bring up.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. About
Go
to
ahead,
bring it up.
Drac. I want to hear your wolf head mount.
Please stop
Or-
putting head mounts on any of the stuff, because we had horses with head mounts. We've had this wolf now. I love the look of the wolf. I love all the armor on the wolf, other than the stupid head mount. Can we please not have head? I just think it takes my immersion out of it, because, and then I'm like, well, I don't know what this thing is because it's got this head mount on it. So what am I writing right now? Because all I see is this head mount. Or at least give us the option to like toggle it off. Like we can toggle our helmets on and off, because I never wear a helmet just because I don't like the way they look, any of the helmets. So maybe give us the option to toggle it off. I do like the look of the wolf a lot though, and I'm happy to see a wolf. I wanted a wolf mount for a long time, but
I
yeah,
have it right
please.
there.
Oh yeah, so I see Waisakai's screen. If you're watching the video on YouTube, you can see, or on Spotify, you can see the Outburst right now. Neat. That does look cool. I like it.
Okay, yeah, it does look cool, yeah.
You
With the runes.
definitely get a real good view of the runic design within. It's not just like a little glowy thing that comes out of a weapon. There's an actual design underneath it.
Oh, it spins around. It's like a circle that keeps going around.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, is there anything else you all want to say on the coffer? I mean, we didn't talk about the helmet, but the helmet's, very Skyrim-ish, which I think it's not a criticism. It looks cool. I love Skyrim. Great
Oh,
game.
it does
So
look good.
here's
but
a
it is
question.
Skyrim.
Here's a question: do you think this is a prelude or a hint that the next archetype is gonna finally be the barbarian archetype that Severlin once named as the next one that never actually happened?
I don't think so. I think they kind of just these coffers seem to be pretty random, but I would like to see that. What we really need is, and this is something Nomad brought up in his video, but we need a freaking great club user. Barbarian would be
Maul.
great. Half orc iconic barbarian great club user, please. Clubs and great clubs, that'd be amazing. It's like they introduced great clubs into the game with like in what is it, Fire of Morgrave, they have a great club. And I thought they were going to add support for great clubs finally, and they never did. I'm like, why did you even put that weapon in the raid if you were never going to make it worth using on any build? But anyways. All right. Well, I think if that's it, you all have to say on the coffer. We're closing in on the end of the show here. So if anyone in Twitch chat, has questions, go ahead and type those in, and we'll go through any topics or questions anyone has. But the next thing I wanted to ask you all is, what do you want to see from DDO in 2026? What are like the one or two things like on your short list of like, this is the things I want DDO to do in 26? Who wants to go first? Drac, you have it. What do you want to see? Because I haven't heard from you as much.
I said it on my podcast. I want a classic pack, and I want Tomb of Horrors.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I
down.
listened to your podcast, and I put in your chat. I'm like, if they do Tomb of Horrors, it would be a perfect time to do Reaper Skulls like increases, like go to Reaper 15 or something.
yeah.
Like that would be the perfect update.
No, it
like
has
they're
to go
going
to
do
11.
that. So I do think go to 11. Yeah, just it needs this. I think that R10's fine. It just needs that little extra. We need to turn it up to 11. But I think like if they did R15, something like that, I think they will increase the Reaper Skulls eventually, but that would be a perfect update for that with Tomb of Horrors. But yeah,
it's about time we had another classic pack though. So
yeah, true. Well, anyone else? What do you all want to see in 26? Like, what's your one big thing that you want to see DDO
I want
do?
to see a big celebration for the 20th anniversary, because that's in the game industry, every time a game hits the 20th, 25th, 30th, these are big anniversaries and milestones for a game. So I want to see that go big, and if we do a classic, personally, I would like to see the G and D series going into the Loth module get into the game. Like I love how the G can go to the D and then D into this Loth fight. It would be nice to get another Loth confrontation. And I grew up with the giant against the giants and all that. But yeah, I just hope this 20th anniversary is gonna be so fun and great for new players, great for long-lasted players, great for all the players.
I think they really need to brand it based on the Nat 20. I mean, it's got to be a Nat 20.
What's the chances that we're gonna get a cloak and a steed next year? Probably like 5,000%.
More than that.
10,000.
What do you mean? Just another mount? Yeah.
Yeah, at least a mount and a cloak next year. I'd be surprised if we don't.
Yeah. I think that's an easy yes.
What they might do, considering they brought back the Bottle of Mist through the Escape to Ravenloft, I could see them going back and bringing back all of those old previous. Oh, you can only get them if you bought the legendary tier at such and such a time. All those old exclusives that nobody's been able to get for 10 plus years. I think they'll probably bring those all back. I also expect them to do a thing where they give everybody the ultimate edition of maybe Isle of Dread. I don't know, because that would be cool. Because they did something similar in Locho for their 15th anniversary. They gave people a crap ton of stuff for free, like expansions, the equivalent of an Autos box, honestly, and that's what Isle of Dread has in it. But yeah, I think they should do like a whole Nat 20 campaign, branding for their anniversary event, make it a whole year long, make it a big deal because it's not just a February thing. This is a big deal. So I want a Blue Drake mount. I would like to see Legendary Reincarnation. I would like to see
Yeah,
some more things
Legendary
that are cool.
Reincarnation. I think we will get that, absolutely. It's just I don't think next year. I think they've still got to fill out content and get us up
I do feel
more
like we're
levels.
getting legendary levels. I feel like we are getting legendary levels next year. I
Yeah,
also
we'll
am
get we'll
hoping
get a
because
level cap increase next year, I think. Yeah, for sure.
I pitched this in PAX East this year, and I hope they listen. I'm hoping because it's the 20th anniversary, we get a quest pack that's just a bunch of quests where we check in on old villains that we beat up, like what's his face, Sorjek. Like a quest where you're like, Sorjek is retired now, he gardens, and he's like, oh hi guys, you don't have to beat me up, I'm just gardening. Oh, someone took all my pumpkin seeds, can you find them? And we kill 10 rats and get pumpkin seeds for Sorjek. That'd be so cool to catch up with old DDO like villains.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Druid's Fire mentioned made me think of something. I think she brought it up. What is it? We didn't talk about the bottle of mist. They did bring back the bottle of mist. It was purchasable in the store. I should have brought that up earlier, but yeah, that was nice. So finally, if you want the bottle of mist teleport, you can get it from the store along with a lot of the cosmetic and pets and scarecrows and whatever else. But it's kind of an aside. But for me, so there's two things that I want. Well, there's one thing I want to see, and then two things I think the game needs. I mean, the one thing I personally want to see is more raids, more larger scope raids. Seems like all the raids we're getting are just, 5-minute raids that don't have multiple phases. It's either like one boss fight or it's like Relentless where it's just 5 minutes. Like I want to see like more raids like Temple of Deathworm, like the Shroud, stuff like that where we have like or yeah, Curse of Strahd, where we have multiple different interesting phases, something more complex, something more where DPS is not everything, something that's really emphasizes more party coordination and communication and maybe puzzles and strategy, things like that. That's what I want to see, as someone who loves raids. And then the two things
And secrets.
oh yeah, secrets would be cool. Yeah, like in a new expansion, getting something like Isle of Dread. Then the two things I think the game really needs that I hope they get. Well, one I hope they get this year is UI scaling. The game badly needs UI scaling for 4K monitors. It's going to be 2026 here in a few months. A lot of 4K is the norm now. We got to get scaling for the UI. And I know Lotro is it seems like it's in process for Lotro, but we got to get that in the game. I hope that finally happens this year. I know they've been talking about that. They've been wanting to do it. I mean, Severland's probably mentioned that. It's something they want to do for how many years now? 5 years plus years?
Oh, he was
I
bouncing up and down
mean,
about it at
it's
Gen
got to
Con.
happen. And then the second thing I want to
If
see,
it happens to Latra, it's happening for us.
yeah, it should happen.
Yeah, the thing is, Tolero was very cautious about it. First of all, she threw Seb under the bus and said, "Yeah, he likes to get excited about things." Like,
Yeah.
damn. But she did want to be very clear and cautious about it to say that again, it's not going to be a one-to-one port from one game to the other because DDO has some different UI elements and things under the hood that aren't the same. So she didn't want to commit to it being for sure this year. But depending on how they tackle that with the engineers not having to fight lag quite so strenuously, thank goodness, that maybe they can turn their attention to something like that. Because it does require engineering work. It's also, if they're going to do it even better than Lotra's doing it, they need to redo the art. And I don't think they've got the
yeah. But they've got to find a way to get
Yeah,
around
they've
that.
been-
And the other thing is, for anyone who doesn't know like why this is important that's listening, if you try to play the game on 4K in a 4K monitor, the UI doesn't scale, so it's just tiny. So you basically have to play this game in 1080p and set your monitor to 1080p to play this game. If you try to play it in 4K, it's going to be not really playable because the UI doesn't scale. But yeah, what else do you all have other things to say on this? I think Why Sky, you wanted to say something.
I play in 4K. It's okay.
It's okay. Okay. Well,
you have good eyesight,
there's
you're
a
not wearing
way.
glasses.
No, there's a thing because when I was hanging out with Humble Friar in 2023, he showed me on his like 8K TV DDO. Like there's this thing that Windows does. It has this ability. You have to go into your Windows setting because it can take control of certain programs, and it does something funky with the UI, but it's still not true like 4K scaled stuff. It's just it bigger, right? Just like what Druid's Fire is. So like basically being able to do it without having to know how to work your Windows, is pretty awesome. But yeah, it was either this or redo the art. This is obviously faster. Uh, what makes me crazy about this is that they've been known about this for years. Like I said, I was in a dev's house in 2023, and he was like, I'm trying to figure this out, and this is as close as I got. But it's a Windows issue on my end. Like, this is how I came up with my solution, and I'm like, and they knew then that the one of the solutions is redoing art, and I'm like, oh, they must have been really busy if it's been years and they didn't do one art. They couldn't do the XP bar, since then, like one thing.
I think, from my understanding, in my own chats with Cyberlin over the years, is that they wanted to have it done all in one fell swoop. Just so it wouldn't look like it was out of place. Because, again, we don't want to talk too much about the other game, but the other game took one of their UI elements, the deed log, and did a new version of it that looked pretty good, actually. There were some problems with it, but it looked very different from the rest of the game. It did not fit how the game should look. And so they wanted to make it all one suite. And we may think is like, oh, these UI elements, it shouldn't be all that hard to redo the art. It's going to be that hard to redo all the art. Speaking as somebody who does my own art, every single icon would have to be redone under the new process. And again, they hired an outside company to start working on it, and Seb didn't like the work, so he yeeted them.
Yeah, they gotta figure it out though. I mean, whether they automate it or however they do it, they gotta figure it out. It's just gotta happen.
Either they're going to do the process or a similar process to what Lotro has, or they need to get EG7, because we all like to poke at Daybreak being in charge of Standing Stone, but it's actually Daybreak's parent company that's got the purse strings. If EG7 wants to throw a crap ton of money at Seb and say, okay, hire these third-party companies, because we know they have done. They used Toadman to help with some of the stuff in a previous thing somewhere before they got rid of Toadman. But that was where they were using another EG7 company to do some work for the other game. So they can hire a temporary group to do this for them, but it's not a small project, and it's also not a cheap project to really do the kind of proper, make it actually scale the way we want, rather than take the existing art and just make it bigger, which will basically make it look pixelized once you get into it's like zooming in on something in Photoshop and you start seeing the individual pixels.
Yeah, I mean, if they have to,
which is fine, because honestly, I don't want my bars to take up too much of the screen. So if it's only just slightly upscaled, so it's not minuscule when I'm playing in like a big screen, that would be nice. It doesn't have to be completely 1-for-1 upscaled. It could just be just nice, big enough for me to see, and just small enough so I can see the dragon on my flank.
Yeah.
If we could increase the text size, it would help a lot too.
There is a post that I posted 5 days ago on Blue Sky, but you have to be logged in to see it, that it shows what the Lotro one looks like. I just took a picture of my character on their test server. It's like, this is what it looks like right now on my 55-inch big screen TV in full screen windowed mode. And then I use their UI thing to, make it 2.0, where this is 1.0. And this is what it looks like on the same screen. And it basically looks like the way that I play now. I force my game into windowed mode, so I'm running it by, 1920 by 1080. So it looks like a normal screen, a normal HDTV screen. But yeah, the UI elements are much more visible when you've got a 55-inch screen. Like, I can touch it.
Well, well, other than UI scaling, the other thing I want to see them do is one thing I don't think it's been a good look for the game is when a new player comes to the game, they log in, they create a character, and they go to Korthos, and like they're seeing the graphically ugliest parts of the game when they start. I would love to see them do an update with a new starter area because Korthos, the teaching mechanics are way out of date. There's so much stuff in there so much stuff that's just not included. That's so essential to learning the game. It's not included. There's things in there like it emphasizes things like DR in I think Hayton's Rest. That's just not that important in the game. I would love to see a new starter area that has up to date graphics, something that's pretty in 2025, 2026 standards, because it's like they log in and I don't think it does a very good job, Korthos, these days of teaching them what to do, and they're seeing the graphically ugliest parts of this game. I just don't think it's the best first impression these days. So I would love them to keep Korthos there as an option, but create a new default starter area that with a new storyline and new quests. I know that would be a big update, but like for player retention, I think it would be a big improvement. I know Nomad.
That would be cool.
Nomad, you mentioned some other things as well. You thought kind of similar in your video that the new player experience needs to be better.
Yeah, overall, I think the thing that is probably one of the greatest things about DDO is also one of the biggest barriers to entry to DDO, and that is character creation. Right? When you think about all of the different options that are available, all the different races, all the different classes, all the different abilities, you can customize a character to play it just about any way that you want to. And you can play it any way that you want to. Is it going to be good? Maybe, maybe not. It depends. But for a new player coming in, seeing that element and all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't know what to pick. It's like you get decision paralysis because you just don't know what to take. Does this work with this? What does this prerequisite have to do with this? Right? So it's the complexity of it keeps me invested in the game because I could do a bunch of different things. But for a new player coming in, it's really overwhelming. Right? We have some people in the community that do a very, very good job of creating builds. Strim Tom does them. I know Voodoo's done some. Axel's done a few. Right? And so, like Druid's Fire mentioned the paths, right? We need new updated paths. We have sources in the community who can put together paths or put together, character builds that you can click on this if you want to just try it out and not have to suffer like I did when I first started playing in 2009 when I decided to go, with one of the barbarian pre-fit paths and I had no clue what I was doing. And it was even horrible in 2009. So I'd like to see, some more work for the new players because like I said, I've seen more people streaming DDO, I've been streaming for 3.5 years now. In the last year, I have seen way more people streaming DDO. I have seen more people coming into the game than I have ever seen, in my previous 15 years of playing. And, Standing Stone has tried to get more people involved. We had the PAX West thing this year, which is a great introduction for people to want to try it out. There were codes that were involved for people to try stuff out. We had the big server migration, right? Now we have healthier populations on servers, so you're not trying to shoehorn someone onto Galanda, where, the server population was like a quarter of the size of, say, Orion. So we're in a good spot, but I think there just needs to be more focus on that new player experience. Tutorials are old. The information isn't quite there. Like Axel said, even if they don't do a new area, what if you made it Borderlands instead as the starter area, right? Level 1s and 2 quests, just like Korthos, but it is more visually appealing than Korthos is, right? So that's the big thing for me. It's like we want to see new blood coming in, and we're seeing new blood coming in, but how many people are actually sticking with it and staying through, that initial, run into DDO. So that's like the one really big thing I would like to see in 2026 is more focus on that. It's the 20th anniversary, right? It's probably going to depend on manpower and if they have the ability to do it, but that's personally what I would like to see.
Well, anyone else?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one of there have been a few visual updates to Korthos recently. There was a dev named Bakata who came over from the Lotro side. He was another one of those folks who left the company and came back, and he spruced up a bit, made it look pretty nice. I think some more sprucing up to Korthos itself is definitely warranted. I also agree with the new player experience because we see this occasionally in Discord when new folks roll in, and there are a lot of folks who are very helpful, but they don't understand the new player audience. They would throw too much information at them all at once, and I had to rescue one of these new people to tell somebody else, hey, come on, slow down here, slow down. You're feeding too much, and they were like, thank you. Because they were getting overwhelmed because it was just, well, you should take this because it'll save you down the line for this. No. It's their first character. Let them mess up. But, because the game is pretty forgiving if you're running on normal, and you don't need to shotgun people straight to Reaper. Let people learn how to play the game first. And I would argue that many of us, or many more of you, you're way more in tune with what works and what doesn't work than I. But I think a lot of the folks who try to help new players don't understand the new player experience anymore. They're like at step 12, whereas the new player is still on step 1 and needs to get to step 2. And y'all have forgotten more about how to play the game than this player has the opportunity to learn. And the new paths would be amazing to have. Also, some more information about, okay, this skill does what, and what is it good for? Why would you take this? Why would you not take this? And also, let's trim the fat. There are so many feats and abilities in the game that nobody uses. Like, Standing Stone obviously has the data to know spells.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, why would you ever take this? You would never take this. Why would you ever...
I take athletic
also,
on all my builds. What do you mean?
You liar.
As long as they don't
Yes, I am.
snake blood.
Yeah, but I think getting the players' feedback on such a thing, and I'm not just talking about player council, I'm talking about the players. And of course, there's going to be some folks who are going to try to game the system because that's what they do. But I think in general, they'll be able to see who uses what, and to see. One of the other things I want to see is like things having more anti-requisites, so that if you have improved turning, because I love to turn undead. If you have the improved turning feat, then you should not be able to take something else that gives you improved turning and does nothing. If you've got Die Hard from the actual regular feat as you're leveling up, then you shouldn't be taking, you shouldn't be getting Die Hard from some other, I don't want to see people accidentally doubling up stuff like that because they don't know any better.
I think what you were saying was who was saying, but the pass that Nomad was talking about, even if it's just 3, I think that would be like a drastic improvement. Even if it's just like, say they took maybe like offensive caster, a melee, and then maybe a bow build or something, and it's like, okay, you can pick one of these 3, because I know the issue with the paths is that they have way too many options. Well, they have to do a different one for every race class combination. It's just an overwhelming amount of work. So even if they narrowed that down and said, okay, we're just gonna have 3 paths, you can be a caster, you can be a melee, or you can be a range character, and it's preset. One's like a pure ranger, one's a pure paladin. one's a pure sorcerer. There you go, pick one. At least that would be a manageable amount of work if they can't do one for every class combination.
I would do like at character creation beginner, and then you don't get to choose your class. You don't get to choose. You say I want to play rogue, and it just gets you a pre-made build that you don't choose anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what else do you guys want to see from DDO in 2026? Anything else? That's
Make great clubs great again.
yeah, I agree.
A nice. Did we get a bow cosmetic with? I might be completing the other game because they just brought back a coffer
I
that
don't
had
think
a
we
bow
got
in
a
it. And
bow
everybody's-
cosmetic in very long
No.
time or ever.
In a long time,
Okay.
I can't even think of ever actually.
Oh, I'm
now
thinking
that
of the
I'm thinking
quiver,
about it.
the Cormanther quiver. So, yeah, maybe. Oh, I would like to be able to mog my rune arms and my orb spitter. Yeah, yeah. I want to have all of my rune arms look like the astral projector from Night Rebels because that's the best rune arm ever.
All right. Well, I'm going through now chat. If we don't have anything else on 2026, I'm going through chat for questions. I did have, I think, did I have one more thing I wanted to ask you guys? Oh yeah, everyone give DDO a grade in 2025. I'm gonna say A just because of they finally got the server transfers done. What would you guys say?
B
At
plus.
the end of the year, I would give it an A minus. Mainly because are we giving it an end of year score, or are we giving it a score based on? Because let's be honest, the server transfers, the end once we got there was great. What was not good was the months and months and months. Well, it wasn't months. The couple of months of intense lag and problems. Those were not good. So, dropping the Fae event on us with no notice was not good. So I can't give it an A plus or a full A. A minus though, because they have picked up from things that have fallen down. So they've tried. They've made things better. There's still room for improvement. Many strides to accomplish next year.
I'm on A minus B plus in that range. Like I said, the server migrations were one of the best things to happen to DDO in years and years. The lag that we encountered after that migration, I think knocks the grade down for me, or it probably would have been an A. I think the big thing that I struggle with is we had Cormier. Cormier was launched. Yes, the population wasn't as high, but we had the same issues with Cormier when Cormier launched. We had lag issues on that server, and it took them months to figure it out and get it sorted. And I had hoped that when they launched the new 64-bit servers, they would have had those issues identified and be able to mitigate them faster than what they did. Again, I'm not a technical guy, so I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, but this is just, my view from 10,000 feet. So that's why I'm more like in the A minus B plus range for the year.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, well, anyone else? I'm going to go through chat now. I mean, all we have now is Twitch chat. If Twitch, anyone in chat has questions, feel free to post it. I know there's some that you all posted. I'm going back and looking for them. But the first one we had was from Neurofangs or Rogue. Shout out to him. Rogue, by the way, he does all the UI skins. And a lot of the UI skins that players use, he's done. Anyways, he says, if you made a rogue archetype, how would it play? So what would you all want to see from a rogue archetype?
I would like to see because we know we have the classic assassin with the daggers and the kukris. We have the mechanic. Well, let's get a thug, like street thug, or maybe like wielding one dagger and having intimidate, and he can rob, like, you know he can just mean mug people and have like just thug abilities where he's like trying to shank you and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, let's do a rogue that's maybe not a professional thief or assassin or knows what he's doing, but this is what he does because he's ghetto. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that would be kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be honest. Given what we've seen with Standing Stone over the last few way they've been doing archetypes, I expect to see some sort of hybrid.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Make it a hybrid.
That's what I'm thinking we're gonna see. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm still holding out for the barbarian.
I actually, that's something that we didn't talk about. Dragon Disciple is that its past life is probably the most balanced and coolest past life, because it has something for casters and like it's like what to hit and spell something, so it has something for everyone. It's like it's a past life that you could use as a caster, and it's a past life you could use as a non-caster. And so like I hope they keep that trend with archetypes in the future, where it's like, hey, this is a alternate route. If you're a person who likes casting and you have to get this melee past life to get your completionist, you can choose this one and it will give you something for your caster stuff. That'd be nice.
I'd love a trickster, arcane trickster, something add some magic to it, and add sneak attack to spell or something.
Yeah, Troggy mentions Arcane Trickster. Let's see. Any other questions? I'm just scrolling through. If there's anything, also if there's anything else you all want to bring up, feel free.
I didn't grade.
Or anything we missed.
If I would grade this year, considering that it's leading up to the 20th anniversary, I would give it an A. But personally, I would give it like a C minus, because I don't think I represent a good portion of our gaming community. I don't have altitis. I'm pretty much at the point where when they release new content, I get what I want from it, and then I'm done, and I'm waiting for new stuff, right? So this year, there was not a lot of things for players like me, but that's fine, because like it's just me and like maybe 90 other people, right? Like it's a very small portion. But for me as a demographic, this year was very meat and potatoes, very basic. But considering that they also have next year on their horizon, they kept that in mind since last year. They completed a lot. They did a lot this year, so they deserve an A for that. But for a guy, when you have to take a grade for personal view, I didn't get much out of this year except like some new past lives.
I'm seeing in chat, Troggy says he gives it a C. Igri says A. Havoc Sphere says B. Unger says A. I saw, who was it? Somebody, King Cosmo said 7 out of 10. So I'm going to call that a, I don't know, B+. Kydro says 84 out of 100. So I'm going to say B. No, that's probably B+. GD Wing says B-. Yeah, I think I give it an A because of the they finally did the server merges, but minus, if that didn't happen this year, I'd probably give it a B. Like I thought maybe a B+. I thought the expansion was kind of average. But yeah, it's I got to give it an A though because of the servers. Like that was just something that was many years in the making, and it was a vast improvement for this game. Okay.
I'm settling on B-, because sure it ends well, but we've spent months in heavy lag. We bleed a lot of people bled out of the game because of that.
True. That's a good point. Yeah, I got to
And
take point. I should take points off for that. Yeah, the lag was
and
so bad for a month and a half.
Sure, it went well. We got something stable, but at the same time, there was lacking communication when they were trying to fix stuff, waiting on the next update, the next patch, the next patch, with no voice, nothing.
All right. Well, is there anything else you all want to mention before we call it a podcast? All right. Well, we'll just go around if you all want to plug your stuff, tell people where they can find you. Drac, you want to go first?
Sure. Mainly at ddoplayers.com. That is where you'll find the podcast and all the other content that I post about games other than DDO. A lot of stuff like that. Also, I'm on Twitch. I don't stream too much, but gonna start in the new year, hopefully. So that's Draculetta_72 is where you can find me on Twitch. And then since we kind of mentioned it when I first came in a little late, I also have a podcast with Cordovan that is not related to DDO in the least bit. It's all about music and vinyl. So if you're into that, you can find us at the Record Players Podcast on basically all the socials. Just put that in and you'll find us.
Druid's Fire, you want to plug your stuff? Tell people where they can find you?
Yep. Twitch.tv/DruidsFire, YouTube.com/DruidsFire. All the things to Druidsfire. I stream both Lotro and DDO and Lotro. Also stream a couple other games, and occasionally I might be filmed doing artwork. What? I'm more of a casual player, so if you want to watch R10 rating, don't watch my stuff. Yeah, I'm never gonna do it. I'm doing R1 stuff solo for my summer loot. I'm enjoying my summer loot. I'm gonna start farming. So far, I've just been doing various quests. I got my last golden mote last night, so now I can just farm on that character. But I'm also doing winter, and I am going to probably work with Voodoo and maybe whoever else wants to help, because I want the winter loot cloak, the long cloak. I needs it precious. Unfortunately, I'm not a really good Reaper player, so I need help. So, anyway, watch my stuff. I'm chill. I'm good. Yep.
And by the way, I
always bring cats on my stream.
I will put links to all this stuff, everyone's Twitches and YouTubes and all that, in the description below on the YouTube side and in the description on the Spotify side as well. So you can check that to find all these fine folks. Nomad, you want to go next?
Sure. Twitch.tv/NomadDog. Usually stream Wednesdays and Friday nights starting at 6:30 p.m. Hawaii time. I'll let you guys figure it out because everyone else's time changes. Mine doesn't. And then I also stream on DDO stream on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. With this hardcore Symphony of the Fae event going on, came up with a crazy idea. I collected a whole bunch of potions of wonder. And so now I am running a hardcore run, and every time I get ready to interact with a mote, I drink a potion of wonder to see what's going to happen. I'm also playing a wild mage just because I like to add insult to injury, and we're just going to have fun and see how it goes. So we survived week 1. Week 2 will be tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to it. And then also youtube.com/@NomadDogGaming. You can catch my videos that I've been posting up over there.
Nice. Nimvind, where can people find you?
But I have my own channels, twitch.tv/Nimvind. You can search Nimvind Dirge Singer on YouTube. TikTok, Nimvind Dirge, where I would post videos and stuff. I'm also a frequent guest on Voodoo's stream because him and I are besties. So that's twitch.tv/Voodoo Spice. There's no set schedule currently because I've been taking a reprieve back for the holidays to focus on finances, but those are the places you can find me.
All right, Waisakai.
Why, you can catch me twitch.tv/Ysukai, YSUKAI. Right now I'm playing my alts plus Winterlude. Currently and for the past year I've been streaming with Neutral Agent. We've been playing getting our second Uber completionist. I'm also planning next week to have a big giveaway extravaganza. I have like 60 code to give away of DDO points, items, 1 month of VIP, patrons coffer, and all that.
All right, and as mentioned before, anyone, if you can find this podcast and all previous episodes of this podcast on YouTube, there's a playlist over there, or you can also listen to them on Spotify. I want to say thanks to my Patreon supporters, Braylor, Brian Rasmussen, and Vovklov Snyder. If you want to check out my Patreon or want to donate to the show or my YouTube videos or Twitch streaming, you can check out my link tree below. You can find links to all that there. All right, I want to say thanks to all the guests for contributing their time, and I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas and, yeah, a good rest of the year, and I'll see you all for the next podcast, which will probably be in a different location because I'm getting ready to move. So I will see you all next time.
Ooh, have fun with that.
Take care.